In my last 20 years of experience as research professional, as a university teacher supervising PhD and MS students, I have observed one thing, that all the students who fail in their master's or PhD thesis, they fail because of not understanding the system. Research is not about understanding softwares, it is not about making a framework or data collection or defending something. It is about understanding the system. And throughout my PhD, I wanted something that could guide me from step one to the last step, like starting from how to select a research topic, telling me about the literature, then telling me about the research methodology, then telling me about the data analysis and conclusion, and then defending the thesis, and finally publishing it. So this is the master class I have designed for the masters and PhD students. Does not matter what is your domain. You will find this course extremely useful. If you are going to defend your thesis, if you have written your thesis, this is practical plus theory. Theory in the sense that we will be selecting topic, we will be doing analysis. Practical, we will do a structured questioning model analysis, smart PLS SEM analysis, and we will also write a complete research paper in this course, so you will understand how to write something, how to use different tools in parallel with all the theory. So understanding all the concepts is also important. So we will start this lecture. As I said, it's a complete guide for MS and PhD students from topic to publication, and it is also just not theory, it also contains the practical stuff. So first we need to understand the problem, why this video was created and why you must watch it completely. Most students struggle with the research. Why? Because there is no clear system. And confusion in analysis and writing is also another part. If you write something in wrong way, if you do the wrong testing on the wrong data, that also becomes a problem. So after watching this video, you will not have any problem. If you face any problem in your thesis, you have written your thesis, you can still watch this video and compare that where you were wrong. Now, what is the solution? The solution is this step-by-step system this which I will be giving, where we will create a model, we will collect the data, we will do the analysis, we will go for the publication. And hands-on smart PLS guidance is extremely important. What you will learn? You will learn the topic selection, the research design. You will learn the model development, model building, and hypothesis development. You will also learn the smart PLS analysis. You will learn the thesis writing and publication. The course structure is in such a way that we will start with the foundations. Those people who do not know what is research, how models are created, how objectives, questions, hypotheses are written. So you will understand the model building. Then we will understand the data collection, SEM analysis, result and publication. We will not only see the theory side, but I will also be showing you the practically what we have executed while studying this course. But you can also use different platforms, different top 10 AI platforms, Google Forms, data collection, everything. So this course is different compared to all the available courses available online. Why? Because it's not just a theory, it has the practical approach. It will be guiding you about the AI softwares that you can use for literature. It will be guiding you about different softwares. Just in the era of AI, for instance, ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, Consensus, Research Rabbit, different AI tools we will be using. So this will be completely different what you have learned earlier in those courses which were either recorded or made before the AI era. End goal is that you must be able to write MS or PhD thesis, you must be able to confidently publish in Scopus or Web of Science, and you must become an independent researcher. This is the core agenda of your supervisor. I'm sure wherever you are studying, your supervisor is trying to make you not a dependent person, but an independent person who can not only think, but he can also produce his individual thoughts in research shape. I personally all the time believe in empowering the students, believing in them, listening them. So this is the final message of the introduction of the course. Obviously, we will start the course. The research is a system. Master the system, you will master the research. You will be able to guide your students if you complete this course. So starting with this MS PhD course introduction slide, my introduction, as I told you earlier in the introduction, that I have served for almost for 20 years in the research domain. I am probably only professor that have headed the research department in a multinational that conducted the research for 40 million different respondents. I was working in the telecom sector, so as you understand, there are 1 billion trillion rows of the data which was analyzed. Beside collecting the consumer insights, we made several models such as CLV model. We used several SAS to send the messages, did a lot of experiments in the research. So for the MS students, it will be slightly easy. If anything, that is, if I say advanced at PhD level is not for the MS student. For PhD students, I expect them to understand the detailed quantitative analysis, understand all research concepts, even though softwares and AI will be helping you, but still ultimately the objective is to empower you. The reality of research: 90% research papers fail publication. Last week, I was attending one Springer webinar, and they told that they have received over 150,000 research papers, out of which around 5,000 were accepted. So the reason was what? Weak model, poor analysis, no contribution. So I'm sure you are getting the reality that if your model is weak, obviously it leads to the poor analysis. Model is the foundation of the data collection and then analysis, and if the model is weak, the analysis is poor, definitely there are no contributions. This is the reality when a student fails. Today we will fix all these completely. Research system thinking. So first you must understand that research is not about writing. I will say it again. It is not about writing. It is a system in which you understand from point one to the last point all the stakeholders. For example, the stakeholder is your supervisor, the stakeholder is the defense committee, the stakeholder is your publication journal where you will send the paper, the editor, and after that all the reviewers and the research community. So it's an ecosystem. You need to understand everybody's perspective. Secondly, you know that research is not sort of different thing. It is a system where you need to give the input. You can give the input in form of your data, and you process it and you get an output. So we know very well that wrong input always lead to the wrong output. So this is a system that you must understand. And outcome is obviously the publication and impact. And impact is not just the citations. A lot of the researchers, they do not get the citation, but they are doing really well in the industry because industry does not care about the citation. For example, I made one questionnaire out of my one paper, customer based brand equity in the era of transformative marketing, and that questionnaire was implemented in Pakistan's bigger telecom sector, and they have analyzed the brand equity of over 40 million customers using my questionnaire. So for example, I'm sure you also heard about the NPS, net promoter score, which was given in 2007. Net promoter score is being implemented in Apple, in Microsoft, in Amazon, world top companies, but net promoter score is cited less. So few people, so it's not always about the citation. We will be talking about the impact. Few people with one paper can get a job of becoming advisor of prime minister, of president on the economy, and few people publishing too much crap nobody cares about. So it's not about, the system is not about too much quantity. The system is not about too much citation. The system is not about too much bashing. The system is all about creating something that will have impact. So I often say that in systematic thinking, you must think that whatever you have written, is it presentable to all the stakeholders? For example, you are conducting research on some company, you are conducting research on some medicine, you are conducting research on some process. List all the top officials of that field. Can you share that paper with them? And do you feel that they will be proud of your work, or at least they will like it? So if they like it, it means you have followed the system, not only the writing. Objective is not just publishing. People publish a lot of crap is published, nobody reads it. So if you want to see if you have a good work, probably your research gate readings must be 1 million. Not only the citation, because general public also reads the research work. So I'm sure you got the whole system, the ecosystem, and then this we will further understand in this course. If we see the research flow, first thing you do the idea, you identify the problem in literature. So idea, how you can get the idea? You can get the idea from your experience. For example, definitely you yourself are working in a society, so you can see that what's wrong in the society. Maybe your sewerage system is not good, maybe roads are not good, maybe medicine is not good, maybe hospitals are not good, maybe education system is not good. So you know from where you can get the ideas. Okay, so you are not a common person, you work in a company. Now your slightly idea generation is much more mature than a general person. Oh, you can say, okay, now I have the ideas that why companies sale is suffering. I have the idea why companies are not becoming innovative, why management is rigid. So you can have the idea if you are a company or official. If you're a senior professional, then you understand external factors, for example political factors, demographic factors, beside internal factors of a company. So you can get the idea from there. And then once you got the idea, the chances are that you are not the first person who had this idea. There were a lot of other people who were already thinking about the problem, so they must did some research. So what you need to do, you need to do the problem literature review. So you will find a lot of papers. So this is the first step of the research. Once you see, I often say that as we are in the 21st century, most of the social factor, most of the management sciences topics are already researched. There are hardly any fields, even though they will be, but their proportion is comparatively less. Mostly when you are working in the PhD, you will find the ideas, you will work on the problems. Already companies are working on those problems, already your regulatory authority is working on those problems. So so the chances are that you will find what, you will find some theoretical framework, you will find some theory. So theory answering the problem, answering your idea what you are thinking. So what you can do, you can make a conceptual framework around that certain problem, and then you make the hypothesis. So for example, if in your company you applied a new technology, let's say it is enterprise resource planning, you applied the SAP system. Now for SAP system, people are not accepting it. When people do not accept something, this was researched for in previous 30 years several times. Davis conducted the study of technology acceptance model in 1989. After that, Venkatesh studied it in 2005, in 2003, then in 2013. And then there are a lot of the models coming in the AI era. So already there were people who created the framework. Now you can create your framework by telling what are the variables relevant to your problem. If you are at MS level, you can slightly reduce your framework because you are supposed to complete your research in 6 months. If you are at PhD level, you can try two different models. You can try mediation, moderation, different other techniques we will be explaining in this complete course, which is theory plus practical. So you can create your own framework, and then obviously with the framework you will make the hypothesis. The last thing is structure and question modeling analysis. If you made a framework, then this is the latest what we have learned in terms of the analysis of different constructs, and then you can go for the publication. So this is the research flow. Now, what are the core foundations of the research? The first is everything starts with a concept. For example, the concept of being rich. Now, rich is a concept, but publication requires variables. Now, rich is extremely big concept, so it is not measurable. When rich will become measurable, when we make its further variables. For example, I can say that income per year of a person is $5. Income per year person is $5,000. Is he rich? No, he is poor. If income of a person is more than $100,000, we can say he's a middle, maybe middle person, or maybe not rich, but sort of we can say that he is handling his all his means. But if some person is earning $800,000 per year, we can say him that he's rich person. So the income is something that measures the concept of being rich. Now this is not the only factor that will be measuring that who is rich. So the income per year is the factor that will be measuring the richness. Now the next concept can be that his assets, from where he is getting the revenue, so that can be another variable. And fourth thing will be his individual assets, family assets. You can create different variables to identify the level of being rich. So this is the core foundation of any research which we do in the quantitative way. And I'm telling you that 95% of the research must be done in the quantitative way, because we have progressed so much that on every topic people already conducted the research, and there is no need to reinvent the wheel whenever you do the research. So if your supervisor, if your teacher is guiding that maybe you are going to work on something new, nobody already worked, chances are there is no such concept. You can simply google yourself and you will find out that you need to slightly with respect talk to him that okay, there's a framework available, I can go for the quantitative analysis, I will do the mixed method. Then there are different method, different types of the mixed method: explanatory sequential mixed method, exploratory sequential mixed method. So we will be talking those. But the point is, once the variables are identified, then you do the measurement. So earlier, like maybe 100 years ago, it was okay to research about something and just give the numbers, and error margin was also accepted. But today, in this era of AI, where everything is trackable, everything is measurable, the marketing department have suffered for years because they used to do the marketing campaigns and they were producing nothing. But now, when you do the digital marketing, you can track every single penny you spend on your customer. So you know what is your cost of customer acquisition, you know what is your return on investment. So you can easily measure the marketing campaigns. Same goes for the humans. Whenever you hire some person, you can tell that what is his cost and what is his ROI. Same goes for the machine. Same goes for the human growth. So you can measure every aspect through the construct for which we will be making variables. So I'm sure you got the concept that you will not be studying on the bigger concepts. In PhD and MS, we study on smaller things. We sort of want to contribute, want to give the knowledge. I will draw something here, you will understand. So let's say this is the area of research. Okay, for anything, this is the available knowledge. Okay, now when somebody does PhD, he will like contribute from here. Okay, what he will do, he will sort of expand this circle. Okay, let me click it again. So he will expand this circle. Okay, so this is his contribution of the PhD. Okay, some another person will come, he will sort of contribute here, then someone will contribute here, then someone will contribute here, and in this way the circle of knowledge increases. So the agenda is not doing something on broader level. Agenda is that narrowing the concept, contributing in certain domain. For example, there has been a lot of studies on the richness, there has been a lot of studies on the income level, but maybe you will focus on AI income level. So that is something new. Maybe you do your PhD in this domain and you slightly increase the level of your knowledge. So this is the core foundation which is expected from you. Concept versus variable. You need to understand that concept is abstract. For example, satisfaction. Variable is measurable when you make it on Likert scale. When you say, okay, you are satisfied with this course from 1 to 5. 1 mean you do not agree, you strongly disagree that you're not satisfied, and 5 mean you're strongly satisfied. So what we can do, we will be able to measure, we can make it graph, we can sort of connect it with some other variable and do the analysis. So this is rule is, if not measurable, not publishable. So even in the quantitative analysis these days, we do the sentiment analysis. We will also understand it that how the sentiment analysis is done in an Vivo and in different software such as what they call it, Atlas TI. Examples. For example, performance is a concept, but key performance indicators are variables. Loyalty is a concept, but when we give a service score to the loyalty, when we sort of decide a level, then it becomes a variable. Similarly, income is a concept, but the annual earning is becomes the variable. Types of variables. So we have sort of, we can say, four types of the variable. First is independent. Independent variables are always a cause. Second is the dependent variable, that is the effect. The cause and effect we study mostly in the social sciences and management sciences, also in other fields such as in chemistry and other sciences. Then there is a mediator that talks about the mechanism that is in between independent and dependent, that is in between cause and effect, and that explains the mechanism. And then the moderator that tells about the strength and direction. So we have mainly four variables: independent, dependent, mediator, and moderator. I'm sure now you understand that uh, what are the types of the variable and what is their purpose. Now, when we develop the hypothesis between these variables, what we ensure that hypotheses are testable, like relationship between cause and effect, like the role of the mediator in between those, and the strength of the moderator. So it must be testable hypothesis developed in such way. Example, that experience impact on the loyalty. So this is something we can test. That if they have a good customer experience, will they be loyal? If they have a bad customer experience, what is this relation with the loyalty? So obviously, both experience and the loyalty we will measure on the Likert scale, or we develop some other scale. Different scales are available on Google. When you will be doing your PhD, you will find the questionnaire or scale of every variable. And then these hypotheses can be directional, can be non-directional. You can say you want to see the general relationship, you can say you want to see the positive relationship. So these can be directional or non-directional. And sort of, we realize that when we have the idea, we have the problem, we have the framework, we know the variables, we must do the literature review in a proper manner. So the literature review mean, it's the in some cases people think that this is a mistake student make, that is literature review is about a summary. Literature review is not a summary, it is basically the gap identification, that the certain idea you choose, what is missing, what you can contribute. So one gap can be that people only study independent dependent variable, the mechanism of a mediator was not introduced, our moderator was not introduced. So you can see there is a difference between the results of different studies. Still you can say there is a gap, I want to clear this gap. So literature review basically is also done for theory building. You want to develop a theory, you want to make a conceptual framework, and you also do the literature review for justification of your model. So now on foundational level, I'm sure you understand that what is purpose of the literature review, which you do for your research papers, for your thesis, for your different models. Now, there are three types of the literature review. If you are doing BS level some project, I recommend you do narrative, basic level literature review. If you are doing master's level, then you must do systematic PhD level. For example, you can implement the Prisma framework, which we will be explaining in the upcoming slide. And if you are a professor and you want to contribute in some bigger perspective, for instance, when I was the head of the research in a bigger multinational, so our focus was doing meta-analysis, because when you do the literature review, when you conduct a study on any industry, you are just analyzing your study. When you do the meta-analysis, you study the results of different papers, and then you combine them and create something bigger. So that is advanced level meta-analysis. So that also is a type of literature review, but you analyze the results also. So there are three types of the literature review, but one is narrative, that is basic, you tell what happened in the literature, what was written in the literature. Second is systematic, where you select a database and you decide about different papers, and then you make a decision about your own area. And the third one is meta-analysis, which is advanced level research, where alongside with the Prisma model, you also focus on the results, and you sort of analyze the data again by collecting the results of different papers. And this is the Prisma framework, and you must know it, because without this, your literature review is useless. These days, does not matter what is your field, you must do the Prisma framework model. So you need to first identify the papers. Uh, you can select any database, be it Scopus database, be it Web of Science database. These are extremely credible resources. You can also use different for example, if your university have Springer or elsewhere subscription, you can also use those databases, but I prefer to use Web of Science database. So you identify the papers through the keywords, you identify the papers through the IV, through the DV, through the mediator, the framework we made. Then what you do, you screen and filter the papers. How we screen and filter the papers? For example, you are looking for technology acceptance and management domain. So maybe there is one study that focused more on the professionals in engineering domain, and you are studying technology acceptance in health domain. So you can sort of filter it. Maybe you find a paper that is in another language, and you want to find the lectures only which are in the research papers only which are in the English language. So you can filter that thing. You can also filter the year wise. For example, papers are being written on Web of Science. I could find the papers that were written in 1750. So 1750 to 2026. So end of 2026. It's difficult to say 2027 or 2030. It's difficult to filter the papers for 2 to 3 years. So you can say I will study last 5 year papers. So this is the second thing which we do in the Prisma model. And then you need to study the final studies which are relevant to your study. Once you filtered, you get 100 studies, and then you select out of 100 30 to 40 studies that these are my field related studies, and then you do evidence based referencing in your Prisma model that these four papers here are their results. You can go into the details of the selected papers. So once your literature review is done, your everything is selected, you must focus on the research design, that what should be the research design. So you can say that research design will be cross-sectional or longitudinal. Cross-sectional means you will collect the data once and you will analyze it and you will conclude the findings. Longitudinal mean that you will collect the data over in a pattern after every month or after every quarter or semi-annually you collect the data. Or even when I was heading research in one multinational, what we used to do, we used to track the brand health after every 3 months. Then survey based quantitative design you need to design, and then instrument development. I'm sure by now you understand that you have made a framework, and whatever you are doing is doing as per the framework, as per the model. And you are also aware that you are answering some problem that we decided earlier. So now, once all this research design is done, you selected a quantitative method. Now you need to go to the sampling strategy. So you need to understand few things. That first thing is population. Whatever your study is, so there can be millions of the people that directly are sort of relevant as part of your study. So that is the whole population. Now you cannot sort of get the data from everybody. So you need to select a target sample. But the sampling strategy, bigger the sample, better the accuracy. The more people you will add in your sample, the more data you will collect, your accuracy will increase. But ensure to avoid the biases. These biases can be gender bias, race, any bias. This is the reason mostly researchers go for the probability sampling, where every person have an equal chance of selection. So in sampling, you can select the probability, random or stratified sampling, or non probability sampling, which is convenience sampling and snowball sampling. Random sampling means that you can select people if you have the population framework. So I told you, for example, you are studying the customers of a company. They have total 40 million customers. Now 40 million is your population. If you can get list of those 40 million people along with their contact numbers or emails, whatever, or just the company allows you to contact them and interview them, then you can select the random technique. So you can randomly select any people and you can approach them because you have the list. Okay, so this is the most credible way. Stratified random sampling means you can make the stratas based on the region. Maybe if you can study one state and you can select one city, and then you can apply the random sampling formula. Non-probability sampling is based on the convenience. Here, the chances of biasness increase. Snowball sampling means that you sort of go to a person, get the data, and then you ask him that, can you refer me some other person? He will refer you some other person, and then the other person will refer you some other person. So this way you can collect the data. In non-probability sampling, I often recommend the snowball sampling because here slightly you can reduce the biasness. Convenience sampling is 100% bias sampling. You go to the people, you find easy to talk to, you find somehow you find convenient. So once we collected the data, once we did all the previous step, the next thing is the data analysis tool. So data analysis, whenever we collect the data, we need its cleaning. So chances are When you ask a screening question, some people might not answer all your question, so you need Excel. You can do screening in Excel. You can also use ChatGPT for that, but you need to also track that in your Excel sheet. uh, Whenever you will use AI tools, ensure that you understand them very well. It is ethical, it is allowed that you use AI tools, but you must be the main thinker. The intellectual rights must be your own rights. Thought must be your own thought. So you can use different software. In Excel is also a sort of tool that helps you in the cleaning. So you can also use the AI sheet. For descriptives, you can use SPSS. You can also use the AI tools, and SmartPLS you can use for structured question modeling, which is the core of the study we do in these days for PhD and MS level data analysis. So from here, we will start the PLS-SEM overview. Model testing techniques we will be talking about. We will be talking about handling complex relationships. We will be talking about high publication acceptance. And why PLS-SEM is important? Because PLS-SEM helps us in all these things. It helps us in model testing. It helps us in handling complex relationships. It helps us in high impact publications. This is the point where most of the research papers get rejected. Why? Papers do not get rejected because of the theory. They get rejected because of the weak measurement in PLS-SEM. Before we test any relationship between variables, we must first ensure that our measurement model is strong. This means that we need to confirm that our constructs are reliable and valid, and outer loading represent how strongly each indicator reflects its understanding, its underlying construct. A value of above 0.70 means in the outer loadings, as you can see over here, it means that the indicator is highly reliable and contributes well to the construct. If the loading is below the threshold, we may need to consider removing that item composite. Composite reliability basically measures the internal consistency of the construct. If in simple terms, it tells us whether all items are consistently mirroring the same concept. A value above 0.70 indicates acceptable reliability. Average variance extracted, this is our third measurement model parameter. This is extremely important because it is also used further in HTMT, in the Fornell Docker technique, in a lot of other model fitness techniques. So it is extremely important number, AVE, and it measures the convergent validity. It shows how much variance of the indicator is captured by the construct. If AV is above 0.50, it means the construct explains more than half of the variance, which is acceptable. If your outer loading, composite reliability, and AV are not meeting these thresholds, your measurement model is weak, and your research cannot proceed to the structural model if you are not passing the measurement model. So we got the threshold. These thresholds are extremely important. If your research is well established, you're following a theory, you're following a framework. So next thing is discriminant validity. Even if your model looks perfect, it can still fail. If your variables are not truly different from each other, this is where discriminant validity comes in. It ensures that each construct in your model is unique and not overlapping with the other. The most powerful and widely accepted method today in HTMT, uh, if the HTMT value is below 0.90, it means your constructs are distinct. But if it exceeds 90, it indicates that the two constructs are measuring almost the same thing, which is a serious problem. In most top journals, HTMT is now the primary criteria for discriminant validity. This is the traditional method, or we compare the square root of EV with the correlation, the foreign locker technique. This rule is simple. The construct should share more variance with its own indicators than with other construct. If we simplify it, we can say in simple terms, your variable should relate more strongly to itself than others. This is the cross-loading technique. So these things are extremely important: the discriminant validity and the convergent validity. Once our measurement model is done, we must understand the structural model. This is the moment of truth in your research where your hypotheses are either accepted or rejected. After establishing a strong measurement model, we move to the structural model. This is where we test relationship between variables and validate our research model. So the first thing is path coefficient. You must understand that this thing, path coefficient we are talking about, path coefficient show the strength and the direction of relationship between variables. We test their significance using t values and p values through bootstrapping. If your p-value is less than 0.05 and t-value is above 1.96, your hypothesis is supported. Coming towards the second point, which is R square, explained variance. The R square tells us how much variation in the dependent variable is explained by the independent variable. I will repeat it again because this is extremely important. The R square tells us how much variation in the dependent variable is explained by the independent variable. So higher R square means a stronger model. Typically 0.75 is strong, 0.50 is moderate, and 0.25 is a weak model. But it's not a threshold. So even if your R square is 0.25, still acceptable. I attended defense of many students where the R square was 0.25, still the committee accepted and gave them PhD degree. So the third thing is F square that you must understand. F square measures the impact of each independent variable on the dependent variable. For example, for a certain variable, if f square is 0.02 is small, it is considered a small effect. If it is 0.15 is medium, and if it is 0.35 it is called large effect. Even if our relationship is significant, it effect size tell how important it is actually. So the third structural model construct we need to understand is Q square, which tells us about the predictive relevance. Q square evaluates the predictive capability of the model. So the rule is if Q square is greater than 0, your model has predictive relevance. So now here you must understand, this is a critical warning that most students only report p values but ignore f square, r square, and q square, which weakens their research. Significance tells you if a relationship exists, but r square, f square, q square tells you how strong and how useful this model is. So the closing of the structural model must be in such a way that a strong structural model does not just prove a relationship, it proves that your research has real explanatory and predictive powers. One additional bonus point I want to tell you in the structural model, because this is the most important slide, and this is the eventually and objective that you get acceptance of your hypothesis. If your structural model is weak, no journal will accept your paper, no matter how good is your theory. So coming towards the next slide, you must understand what is validity. Validity tells us that are we measuring correctly. So construct, content, and predictive validity are measured. Reliability is extremely important. You must understand it is the consistency of the measurement, affect environment, and wording. Final research output can be MS thesis, PhD thesis, or publication. So final message on your research is that research is not about pages, it is about impact, it is about your contribution. Now, our lecture 2 is mainly focused on model building, hypothesis, and framework. Sort of practical side of what we discussed. I'm sure you know the overview. So the core truth is that no model is equal to no publication. No hypothesis means no testing. Today you learn how you build the publishable models. What is research model? In simple words, a structured representation of relationship is called a research model. It links the variables logically and it is foundation of the research. Why models matter? Why conceptual frameworks matter? Models matters because this transform the idea into a structure. Remember in the first lecture we say we have an idea and we want to make a model. The second thing is it enables hypothesis testing. The moment you have a model, you draw the links between the models, then you can only do the testing. And third thing is it required the SEM analysis. So type of research model we have is the direct model, where one thing, for example, here I would say IV This is our IV, okay, and we sort of draw an arrow towards the DV, and we say this is our dependent variable, okay. This is our DV. So this is direct model, IV to DV. The second model can be mediation model. We can put a mediator here in the process, okay. We can call it mediating variable. And the third thing is moderation model. So we can say that there's a relationship between IV and DV, and we put a mediator. I'm removing, so we put a moderator. So I'm removing the mediator, we put here. So we will add now a moderator. So maybe something from here. Okay, we can say that this is impacting the process over here and over here, and I will say it is a moderator. And then it can be moderated mediation. So we can say that there is something acting as a moderation, and we can also put it as here some in between these IV and DV, a mediation also, mediator MV. So these are type of the model. We will also discuss the moderated mediation and mediated moderation when we will be practically doing the smart PLS analysis. So I'm sure you will hear about this several times when you will be doing your PhD thesis. A lot of people will ask you, what is the conceptual framework? And a lot of the students often ask me that what's the difference between theoretical framework and conceptual framework. So it will clear you a lot of questions. Visual diagram of the variables is conceptual framework. It shows the relationship and it guides the researchers. The thing we created like this, IV1, IV2, okay. So like IV1, IV2, 1, 2. So these are our IV impacting on some DV. We can call the dependent variable. So when you put it in such a way, it automatically, even a kid will understand that these two factors are basically impacting on this factor. So visual diagram enable us in the relationship development. So you can say that is, if IV has an impact on the DV, IV2 has an impact on the DV. So it also helps you in the hypothesis development directly. So you can say this is H1, this is H2. So if you put it this way, basically the conceptual framework is what it is. Visual diagram, it shows the relationship. Examples direct here that customer experience impacts the loyalty. So I will say that I can draw it here that customer experience is often written as CEM. It is also written as XEM if marketing professionals write it. I was member of Customer Experience Professional Association worldwide when I was manager in a leading company. I was also their what they call it. I was also their research manager and customer experience manager. So this is, for example, CEM. When we will draw its impact on the loyalty. Hello, why? Okay, ALTY. So I'm also speaking, I'm sure you will understand. Sorry about my writing. So here we can see the CEM is impacting the loyalty. And we can also put a mediator here. Okay, the arrow will be like this way. This, okay. Let me erase it from here. Okay, so the arrow also erase it here. If we are putting a mediator, we will put it this way. So like CEM, then there is a mediator of what they call it, satisfaction, ST, and then this is the loyalty, dependent variable. Okay, we can also add some moderator. We can add the moderator here. For example, we can say that age, AG, is a moderator between the CEM and satisfaction. We can also put a mediator here, moderator here, that comes after mediator. So it will be mediated moderation. So we can say, okay, income is also one another moderator. So this way we can clearly design a framework. This can be an example of the framework. So understanding the variable role, what is their role? So first thing is the independent variable, which is the cause. The second thing is dependent variables, which is the effect, which is the thing we want to measure. Then there is the mediator that explains the relationship. We said it is a mechanism. And then there's a moderator that talks about the strength of the relationship. And it also changes with the capacity. We often we can call it as a catalyst, uh, the mediator thing. So this is their role. So once we decided that what are our IVs, how our framework works, now we need to make the hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is a testable relationship. It is based on theory and logic, and it must be measurable. It must be targetable. It must be testable. So here are a few examples of hypotheses. For example, H1 says that customer experience positively affect loyalty. Satisfaction mediates the relationship between customer experience and loyalty. Age moderates the relationship between customer experience and the loyalty. So this is the way we can write the hypothesis. Type of hypothesis can be four level hypothesis. There are four types of hypothesis. The first one is direct between IV and DV, and the second one is mediation, when there is some variable in between. We already explained while making the framework. And the third is moderation, where one variable can act as a moderator between two variables. And the last one is multi-level, where we can use the mediated moderation or moderated mediation. While designing any hypothesis, we must ensure that the hypothesis is clear, it is specific, it is testable, and it is theory based. So why it should be clear? If it is clear, only then we can do the analysis, and then we can say it is significant or not, p value, t value, other stats we will look, but the text must be clear. The cause and effect relationship that we already discussed must be clear. When we say specific, it means that should sort of address the constructs. When we say testable, it must be establishing the relationship. And fourthly, it must be theory based. Only when it is theory based, then we can justify it. So model development steps. Whenever we develop a model, there are 4 to 5 steps that we follow. First, we identify the variables. We had an idea, we made the problem, and then we sort of go into the literature and we identify the variables. Once variables are identified, then we go for the review of the literature on those variables to establish the framework and relationship between those variables. So once reviewing the literature, the third thing is building the relationship. We build the relationship between from the earlier studies, from theory, sport, or from our understanding. And what the fourth is drawing the framework. Then we draw a framework that what are IVs, what is the mediator, and what is the dependent variable. And finally, we go for development of the hypothesis, and we have to justify each and every hypothesis. This is model development steps. Common mistakes student mistake that student make, just like the random variables. So I was viewing the variables of one student. Few variables are organizational level variables, for example organizational performance, and few variables are individual level variables, for example emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is something that is individuals own something, for example personality. And then you compare the organizational performance, and then another IV is key performance indicators as organizational processes. So your organizations must not be, your variables must not be random. If they must be measuring same cause and effect. And second mistake they make, that their variables are not supported by the theories. Theories basically support a process. So you see a general phenomena that is accepted, but it must be accepted by theoretical support. This is the reason we have we teach you one subject of theories. We in innovation we teach you subject of strategic management. The research process must be taught through the subject of advanced research method and advanced quantitative analysis research book. If some teacher is teaching you research while his subject is strategic management or innovation management or some other subjects, then he is doing the wrong thing. So ideally your theoretical part must be covered with the subject. The reason we kept those subjects is that you get understanding of the theory. You strongly understand the strategic management theories, the innovation theories, the philosophy of the research, so that you support your research methodology. So there is no need to worry if you do not understand, because I plan to make a complete theory based one innovation management, one research philosophies and theories, a complete lecture covering all the aspects. The third mistake the student make while developing a framework is too many variables. You do not need too many variables. If you have 4 to 5 IVs, 4 IVs, one mediator, one moderator, one dependent variable, this is okay. Agenda is that your problem must be clear, your framework must be theory supported. So we are not expecting from you to, like, if you're in PhD in 3 years, or in MS you are in 6 months, or maybe 1 year. We're not expecting from you to do something extremely huge that gets worldwide attention, because you do not have enough resources for that, and you cannot defend it. And definitely our expectations are not higher than just giving you a degree or teaching you research. So once you learn the research, then it's up to you. You can later on keep on doing the research with your students. You can do it yourself also. And the fourth thing is no logical link. Sometimes people choose the variable, just somebody tells them, ask them to do so. Never do it. Even if your supervisor is telling, out of random ideas, pick this variable, pick this variable, without studying the literature, without spending time with you, it means he is just giving you random illogical links. So you have to create a logical link between the variables. So these are the mistakes you must avoid. So advanced tip for the PhD level: always justify each relationship. So this is extremely important. Through theory, through references, through literature. Use top journal literature. Prefer the literature from the journals that are performing well, and align with theory. It can be resource-based view theory, it can be time theory, all the theories, expectation confirmation theory. So there are a lot of theories you will find. Then your model must have a connection with structural question modeling. Model become SEM diagram. Your model becomes structural question modeling diagram. We will do the practical structural question modeling analysis in this lecture. You will find that your model, we will put into the structural question modeling, and it will exactly look like the model you drawn in your conceptual framework. Then we test it using SmartPLS, and then results are published. This is the reason that your model must be as per alignments of the structured question model. For example, every construct must have 3 to 4 to 5 items, so that if we are facing any issue in HTMT, if we are facing any issue in reliability and validity, we can easily remove 1 or 2 items. And then you must prepare it in such a way that it must fit into the SEM equation. It must fit into the model of SEM, so that we perform the analysis. Your data must not be like a non-parametric. Your data must be parametric. It must be either on ordinal scale or on ratio scale, so that we understand it, so that the normalization of data is easy. Even though we can perform the data analysis on a data, or we do the measurement analysis that confirms that your data is okay, unless until measurement is performed, measurement analysis is performed, we cannot go to the structural model. But still we have to think about the model while designing a conceptual framework, that we have to go to the SEM analysis. Moral message is that if you have a strong model, you will have a strong research. If you have a weak model, definitely it will get rejected. And master model building is, if you build a great master model, then you can publish it. So the third thing is about sampling, data collection, and instrument. Advanced quantitative analysis cannot be imagined without sampling, data collection, and instrument analysis. So the hidden truth is that even a perfect model fails with bad data. So you must collect the right data from the right people. Second thing is, if you have sampling errors, definitely you end up having wrong conclusions. You're not collecting the data from the right person, then definitely we get the wrong answers. And instrument errors means you will have the invalid reasoning. What is sampling? In simple words, sampling is selecting the subset from a population, represents the entire population, and it is foundation of the quantitative reasoning. If you do not have a sample, and then there is no need of the quantitative reasoning. Why we have the quantitative analysis subject? Its foundation is sample. First thing is that we need to ensure that when we say that, for instance, in a certain country there are 1 million people, and for 1 million people we are collecting a survey data from 500 people. We need to justify it, and then through those 500 people we need to extract the inferences. So foundation is that those 500 people are basically representing millions of the people, and this is where quantitative data analysis come. This is where the quantitative reasoning come. What it does, it cannot obviously represent 100% accuracy of the whole population of the million people, but at least in the sample we can say that we are sure that we are measuring maybe 70% correctly, maybe 80% correctly, maybe 95% correctly, maybe 100%, maybe 99.9% correctly. So this is where the quantitative analysis come, because we are getting the data from a sample. If you are asking from every uh, person, just like in the elections, you go to every person who is eligible to vote, and then there's nobody to do the analysis because you have not selected any sample. Everybody was voting, so you just count the numbers. If the democrat if we say that elections are based on a sample, then definitely we need quantitative analysis and the inferential analysis. So population versus sample, what is it? Population is entire group, sample is subset of the population, and the goal of the selecting a sample is to represent the population accurately. Why sampling matters? Sampling matters because of the three reasons. First, it saves the time and cost. So the sort of, you cannot go to every person. Eventually you will have more expenses than the outcome. So this is the reason you want to save your time and cost. The second thing is it enables the feasibility of doing some research, and it ensures the generalizability. So you apply the rules to all the people if your sample is selected properly. So there are types of the sampling we already slightly touched in this lecture. We will be explaining in detail, like probability sampling, non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, every unit has equal chance, and more accurate and reliable. It is used in high quality research. The types of probability sampling are simple random sampling, where if you have a population framework, you can select the sampling formula and select the sample. Or you can use the Morgan table to identify that for what type of the population you need how many people, and then you have the population set. In the population set, you can randomly select the required number of the people. The other thing is stratified sampling. You make stratas, and then you, based on the stratas, select a sample. And then there is clustering sampling. You make clusters, and then based on the clusters, you identify randomly different samples from your population. And the fourth thing is systematic sampling, where you systematically select the people. By systematically, you mean we have to go for every 10th person or every 12th person. So I remember we conducted one study for one telecom company all across Pakistan, and we could not secure somehow the population framework. Population framework means that you can only apply probability sampling when you have population framework. Population framework means list of all the people who are part of that population which you are studying. Only then you can select a sample. So if you say to me that there is a box which contains the glasses, and you randomly go and select 2 to 3 glasses, so only I can select the glasses when I have the box along with the glasses. Similarly, you can do the random sampling when you have the population. So I was conducting study for one company, and we had the house numbers across Islamabad. So we could not get the exact owners of the houses. We could not get their contact numbers, but we knew that this is the housing scheme in Islamabad. And we told the research agency, which is the top research agency, AC Nielsen, was conducting the research. Once it was Ipsos. So what they did, they were going to every 10th home in Islamabad in every sector. So this is also a way of doing systematic sampling. If you do not have the population framework of every person, his contact number, you can still go based on home numbers. You can still identify or a parameter. Your search supervisor must agree, your search committee must agree, then you can proceed with it. So coming towards the non-probability sampling, in non-probability sampling, not all units have equal chance, used when access is limited and common in social sciences. So types of the non-probability sampling are basically four: convenience sampling, judgmental sampling, quota sampling, snowball sampling. Well, so in quota sampling, you decide about a quota for certain gender, for certain region. Otherwise, you select the people based on your own understanding or ease in both convenience and judgmental sampling. Snowball sampling is slightly better. I mostly recommend to my students that where you get people for your survey based on the reference. So for instance, somebody using these glasses, you get the questionnaire filled from him, and then you ask him that, do you know someone else who uses this glass or this type of glasses? then that person recommends you, and then from the next person you ask for referring the next person. In this way you can collect the data from different people. Somehow it reduces your biasness. So sample size, this is extremely critical when we select a sample. Larger sample is better accuracy. Too small is unreliable result. So PLS-SEM recommended sample is 200 plus. Then you can do the analysis. Bootstrapping also sort of promotes this thing that with the 200 PLS sample you can conduct the analysis. So data collection. In data collection we have two or three ways. One is primary data where you go and collect the data. Secondary is focusing on published reports, and then third way is you can combine both primary and secondary. And here in the quantitative analysis we are collecting the primary data because we are doing quantitative analysis in first hand. We need to draw the inferences, we need to make a model and identify the things. So data collection methods. So data collection methods, basically you can design a questionnaire by paper, or you can even send it through the WhatsApp to the people. You can conduct the interviews, you can make online Google forms, or you can go to the file some statistics, you can go to the some file printed format method. So what is research instrument? The questionnaire is basically the research instrument. Tools to collect the data is called the search instrument. Questionnaire is most common, must be valid and reliable. The questionnaire must go through the face validity and the content validity. You need to show your questionnaire to your teacher even when you are sort of using someone else's questionnaire, slightly changing it according to your country or your industry where you are conducting research. You must go to your supervisor and get his feedback. Questionnaire design, you need to use the existing scales, whatever has been mentioned in the literature. It is Likert scale or maybe it is range or whatever scale is given. Used most of the cases, in the cases you should use the Likert scale, or you should use the scale that has been given in the paper from where you picked the scale. Wired self-made weak questions never recommended. Never make self-made questions. Adopt from the top journals. Likert scale mostly used where we say strongly agree one, strongly disagree one, disagree two, neutral three, agree four, or strongly agree five. Instrument quality. We must measure the instrument quality, and for quality we have two parameters. One is the reliability, which means the questionnaire must be consistent, and the other thing is the validity, it must be accurate. And you must be asking the right question to measure the right thing. And clarity of the questions is extremely important in instrument. It must not be some leading question, it must not be some vague question. So you have to go through your content, also show it to your supervisor or committees. They must do the content validity and face validity of the questionnaire. Common mistake students make is too many questions. No need to ask too many questions. If you can drive some question directly from any student. For example, when I was doing my MS research in 2011, my teacher told me that I got the printed questionnaire and I was going to the people and asked them to fill it. So there was one question of the gender, and he told me to not ask it from the respondents, because if I was going personally, I could see that who is male or female, I could fill it myself. So the questionnaire which you can fill yourself, never ask from the people. And this is too many questions. This way you can reduce the questions. Ambiguous wording, you never use the ambiguous wording to confuse them. Make it as easy as possible, because these days we make Google forms, share with the people, so the response is totally based on their understanding. So if we use ambiguous word, it can get confusing. No literature support, never make a questionnaire that is not supported by the literature. Poor scaling, never do the poor scaling. Do whatever is in the literature, the scale from where you copied, whatever method they are using. Preferably, as we are going towards the structured question modeling, we need something that is on Likert scale, on ordinal, or at least on the in the what they call a ratio scale. So somehow the Likert scale is, even though ordinal, but it is considered as interval in SEM situation. Advanced tip for the PhD student: always cite scale sources. Wherever you got that instrument, you must cite that. Two, use previously validated constructs. This is extremely important, that use those constructs that has been mentioned in the literature, people use them. And then you must go for the pilot test before you go to the real test. So if something goes wrong, if people are not understanding your question, your questionnaire is not getting the right result, you can easily change that question in the early stage. But once you collected 400 to 500 responses, it is extremely difficult to justify it or go again collect the data, because by the time you have spent a lot of time on it, and then if your data is not bringing good result, it will definitely delay your PhD. So you must avoid it. Do pilot test, ensure that everything is right, the data is okay, then you can proceed for the final version. Data preparation. So whenever you prepare the data, which we will definitely practically also do in this lecture, you must check missing values, what is missing, and you see the outliers. Wherever you find any outlier, you must remove it. So if you see someone who is continuously, for every response he's giving the same feedback throughout the questionnaire, so you can look into that thing, that should I remove it, and why is this way. And prepare for SPSS and SmartPLS. Obviously, in whatever software you will be analyzing your data, you must prepare your data accordingly. So I mostly use ChatGPT these days. Earlier, in old days when there was no ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, I used to do it myself. As I know the Excel, I'm certified sort of Microsoft Office user professional from previous 12 years. I used to use Excel a lot, but now the ChatGPT, these AI tools are helping us. So we will prepare our data using ChatGPT. Final message for data analysis is that good data is equal to strong research, bad data is equal to rejection. Master sampling, master the research. Lecture 4 is about PLS-SEM measurement models deep dive. So the reality of structured question modeling. Most research get rejected here. Measurement model is equal to quality check. If this fails, whole research fails. So we must do the quality check of the measurement model. What is measurement model? Measurement model is a model that link constructs with the indicators. It checks quality of the measurement, and before structural model, we do it to ensure that our data is correct. Types of the measurement model is reflective model, which is most common, formative model, which is advanced. This course focuses on the reflective model so that we understand the reflective model. So when it comes to the indicators reliability, we mostly focus on outer loadings. I have explained it a lot that what outer loadings mean. If you in the first slide, so that when you were excited, so we explained it a lot. So outer loading threshold is 0.70. It must be greater than 0.70. If it is 0.402, 0.70, and it is your model is okay, your the HTMT stats are okay, you can keep it. But if it is creating problems, then you can remove the those items which are where loadings are 0.40 or 0.70. And if any loading is below 0.40, remove it immediately. Internal consistency for reliability, we measure the Chromebach alpha, 0.70 it must be. It measures the items consistency, how they are measuring the main construct. And composite reliability shows the consistency between the items. It also must be greater than 0.70, and CR preferred over alpha. Composite reliability is a new tool compared to Chromebach alpha. People object on Chromebach alpha a lot, but we will not talk about that in this lecture. Our core focus is that it is a parameter of the consistency. So convergent validity in average variance extracted we measure, that must be 0.50. Average variance extracted has been explained in detail earlier, so I will not explain it here. Means construct explain variance. Okay, if I am talking about some term you do not understand, you can simply go into the AI ask question section in the YouTube and ask that where Dr. Farooq have explained the average variance extracted in this lecture earlier. So you will find the definition. Means constructs explain the variance. Higher EV is the stronger contract. Obviously, when we have the higher EV, our foreign locker is linked with this, our HTMT is linked with this, our whole model is linked with the average variance extracted, convergent validity. So this is an important thing. Discriminant validity. Discriminant validity says that the construct must be distinct. So few of you might be mentioning, I've forgot to mention the word construct, because construct is basically the variables we are mentioning. Those construct are those variables which we can measure by asking the questions. They're not visible, we cannot see them. So avoid overlap between variables, critical for publication. This discriminant validity thing. For a Locker criterion, square root of AVE is greater than the correlation. So your every number on top of the Fornell Locker table must be greater than all the correlations given below. It ensures the constructs are unique. It is a traditional method, but still reported in all the publications. Cross loading tells us that indicator loading highest on its construct. Ideally, if you are measuring a construct through some questions, its loading must be higher in front of its own variable, and its loading for the other variable must be low. So it is done to check the overlap. So maybe for one item there is strong loading against its own variable and against some other variables. So if we find some situation critical, we can remove some items, remove the problematic items. HTMT, most important these days, HTMT must be lesser than 0.90. Earlier it was 0.85, 0.80, difficult to get, but the threshold have been improved. Threshold is accepted 0.90. It is latest and strongest method, general preferred it. So it ensures that your every variable is distinct. Model refinement process. So if you sort of find out that there is a problem in your model, how we can refine it, we can remove the low loading items, we can check the average variance extracted and composite reliability again. We have to recalculate until acceptable. And when we will be doing the smart PLS analysis, I will teach you how this is done. Common student mistake that students they, common mistakes they make is they ignore the HTMT, keep the weak indicators, no refinement process, blindly reporting the results. So I have seen so many analysis of the students that they did not perform the measurement analysis well. Their structural model results were bad and they were reported as bad results. And even if you do not properly do the measurement analysis, you get different results. When you do the proper measurement analysis, you get right results. So it is important to ensure all the measurement indicators are met. For PhD level, always report all the criteria, justify the deletion, and just follow here at all 2017. So whenever you delete some atom, you must justify that it was overlapping. And for justification, it is mentioned by here at all that we can remove 30% of the constructs in a model to ensure that our model is correct. So our next step is, after measurement model, move to the structural model and test the hypothesis. A final message for this lecture is the measurement model is equal to the foundation. Strong measurement, strong publication. Master this and win your thesis, win your publication. So lecture 5 is about PLS-SEM structural models deep dive, advanced quantitative research method, a PhD MS level. And the truth about SEM is that measurement model is equal to foundation, structural model is equal to decision making. Here you either accept or reject your hypothesis. This is where hypotheses are accepted or rejected. What is structural model? Structural model examines the relationship between the construct. It tests the hypothesis. It is core of inferential analysis. Core of inferential analysis is structural model. Structural model assessment, what we do. I have explained all the variables in upcoming slides, so there is no need to worry. I have also already explained these all things in my earlier first lecture. Everything is defined in detail. So in structural model, we do following assessment. These are total, what they call it, 6 parameters. The first one is the path coefficients. These are the path coefficients. Then we test the significance. It is tested through the t value. It must be higher than 1.96. Then p value, it must be 0.05 or lower than this. R square mean the coefficient of determination. It is explained variance. It must be, we talked about its threshold earlier. F square, it is the effect size. We talked about what is moderate effect size. I'm sure you remember this. And then there is Q square, which is predictive relevance. And then VIF, that measures the collinearity between the variables. Path coefficients. What are the path coefficients? Path coefficients show the strength of a relationship. Standard value is -1 to +1. High value is equal to stronger effect. The path coefficient is higher, it means it is having a stronger effect on the DV. Hypothesis testing, bootstrapping. T value if 1.96, 5% significance, okay. P value less than 0.05, use bootstrapping smart PLS. If T value is greater than 1.9% and you have P value of 0.05, then your hypothesis accepted. So in the smart PLS, we will run the bootstrapping analysis. We will see how hypothesis testing is done. R square is the coefficient of determination. It explains the variance in the variables. If it is 0.75 strong, 0.50 moderate, 0.25 is weak. F square is the impact of independent variable on the, obviously, DV dependent variable. 0.35 is large, 0.15 is medium, 0.02 is small. Q square is predictive relevance. Your model may look statistically strong, but the real question is, can it actually predict anything? And that's where Q square comes. This is where Q square comes in, and it tells us whether our model has predictive power or not justify the explanatory power. If q square is greater than 0, your model is your model has predictive relevance. If q square is 0 or negative, your model fails to predict, and that weakens your research. So we must understand that q square is calculated using techniques called blind folding in SmartPLS. This method systematically removes parts of the data and checks how well the model predicted them. It is testing your model's ability to predict the unseen data. So Q square is key part of the model validation. You must report it in your thesis. So this is critical thing. Many researchers ignore Q square and only report R square, but journals increasingly expect the evidence of predictive relevance. So R square tells how how well your model explains the things, and what q square tells how well your model predicts. A strong research model is not just explanatory, it is predictive, practical, and applicable. So you must remember, if your q square is weak, your model may look good on paper, but it has little real world values. VIF, this is collinearity check, and VIF must be lesser than 3.3 ideal. VIF lesser than 5 is acceptable. A high VIF means that there is multi collinearity issue. So even if your result looks significant, your entire model can still be wrong if your variables are saying the same thing. This is where VIF variance comes in. It checks whether your independent variables are highly correlated. So this can happen in several cases. This is the reason that reporting VIF is extremely important. A VIF value below 3.3 is considered ideal. It means your variables are independent and not interfering with each other. This is the safest zone for high quality research. So value below 5 are still acceptable, but however, VIF increases, the risk of multicollinearity also increases. At this stage, you should be cautious and interpret the results carefully. So if VIF multicollinearity is high, it means your variables are overlapping and they are explaining the same variance, and this creates unstable results and misleading coefficients, weak conclusions. So the final thing, which is that if multicollinearity exists, your model becomes unreliable even if your p values look significant. So significance without independence is dangerous because your model is not truly explaining the relationships. So what we can say, you need to always ensure that your VIF is also okay. And when we will be doing the analysis of the data, we will see the VIF numbers. Before trusting your results, you always check VIF because multicollinearity can silently destroy your research. Mediation analysis, this is extremely important slide, because uh, I will be expecting from all the students to do the mediation, and it's easy to explain compared to the moderator. So mediation is, sometimes one variable does not affect another directly, it works through a hidden mechanism which is called the mediation. This hidden mechanism is what we call mediator. Mediation analysis help us understand how and why relationship exist. It also sort of tells us the indirect effect. When we will download the mediation results, there will be a table of indirect effects where it is written in mediation, the effect of an independent variable on dependent variable passes through a third variable called mediator. For example, customer experience uh, uh, goes through the satisfaction, and then customer become loyal. So satisfaction is a mediator. And the most important thing is, you have to check the indirect path significance. And bootstrapping in SmartPLS, we check t values and p values of the indirect effect. If the indirect path is significant, mediation exists. There are two types of the mediation: full and partial mediation. Full mediation means that the direct effect becomes insignificant when the mediator is included. Partial mediation means both direct and indirect effects are significant. Many students only check direct facts and ignore the mediation, missing the real story behind the relationship. Direct facts tell you what happens, mediation tells you why it happened. If you want deeper publishable research, always go beyond direct relationship and test the mediation. So this is for PhD students. At MS level, we also recommend that you do the mediation analysis. So mediation transforms your model from the basic to PhD level research. Then we go to the moderation. Moderation is basically the interaction effect. So what if our relationship changes depending on the condition? What if the same factor work differently for different people? This is where the moderation comes in. Moderation analysis is help us understand when and under what condition a relationship becomes stronger or weaker. So we can say that what do we mean by interaction effect? You can ask this. Maybe you are thinking moderation is based on an interaction effect where a third variable influences the relationship between two variables. Uh, Let me give you an example. So consider customer experience and the loyalty. But this relationship may depend on age or income. So we can say that age or income can act as a moderator. The moderator does not directly affect the outcome, it changes the strength or the direction of the relationship. If it can strengthen or weaken, even reverse the relationships. So moderation is best understood through graphical analysis explained clearly. So we can here I will plot so let's say we have two we over here have two variables. This is the customer experience, we write it as CX, okay, and then this is the loyalty, okay, LOYALTY, okay. This is the relationship. Over here we can put a moderator which is called the age, okay. So when it comes to the age, it has been proved in several studies that younger people, they prefer that customer experience all the time tell them that tell us things online, tell us things is through the portals, through the apps. But if as the age grow, the older people prefer to talk to the people on phone call. They feel satisfied, they want personal interaction. So this age can act as a moderator between customer experience and loyalty. So for lesser age there will be different results, for the older age there will be different results. This is the reason we call it a moderator. Extremely important thing is the model fitness that most of the people ignore. Your model may have significant result, but the question is, does your model actually fit the data well? In our earlier slide, I said that we have to prepare the data as per SEM analysis. In PLS-SEM, model fit is slightly different from the traditional SEM. Here we focus more on prediction than predict fit, perfect fit. But still, some indicators are important. First thing is SRMR, which should be lesser than 0.08. Standard root mean square residual measures the difference between observed and predictive correlations. If SRMR is less than 0.08, your model fit is considered acceptable. Lower SRMR means better fit between your model and the data. So the other factor is NFI, which is optional, but NFI is normal fit index, sometimes reported in PLS-SEM, but it is not mandatory. Unlike covariance based SEM, PLS-SEM does not heavily rely on this fit in the NFI. And our point three is PLS focus more on prediction. So the core philosophy of the PLS system is prediction, not perfect model fit. When we were doing this analysis back when I was doing PhD in 2018, so it was the model fitness is not required in SEM analysis. But as the time grew, people asked for the SRMR. So this is the reason that many researchers try to apply covariance based SEM rules to PLS-SEM, which leads to confusion and incorrect conclusions. So in PLS-SEM, a good model is not just one that fits, but one that predicts well. So always remember, focus on predictive power first and second, model fit second. So predictive power is extremely important. We have to focus on SRMR and it should be less than 0.08. How to report the results? This is the most important part when you are writing a research paper, when you are writing your thesis on the what they call it after completion of your 2 years, or if you're a MS student after collecting your data in last 6 months. So report all the path coefficients you must report, include t value and p value, explain r square. Common mistake students make is that they ignore the VIF, they report the p values only, no interpretation, confusing mediation and moderation. This you must never do. Interpret results, not just report. Link finding with theory, discuss the practical implications. Okay, the final message of the structural model is that a structural model is the final judgment. Strong model helps you publication, weak model result into the rejection of the PhD and rejection of your analysis. So now this is the sixth part. It is about the writing. As we said that we are focusing from starting a topic and then going to the writing. So in advanced quantitative analysis, we say that this is the final battle. Yeah, the good analysis is equal to good paper. Writing decides acceptance. The literature and the publications also matter. What is the results section? Presents the findings objectively. No interpretation here. Use tables as much as possible. You can also use figures. So result structure happens in this way. You use SPSS for demographics. You can simply use Excel also. Descriptive statistics, you can use it. Measurement model result and structural model result must be from the PLS-SEM. Demographic analysis, gender, age, education. You need to show these. Frequency and percentage tables. Simple interpretations are required. Descriptives, you highlight these mean, standard deviation, normality check, it's optional, and overview of the data. Measurement model reporting, you must report the outer loadings table, CR, composite reliability, alpha, average variance extracted, HTMT values, and the model is reliable and valid, you must report it. Structural model reporting is about path coefficient, T values, P values, R square, F square, Q square, hypothesis accepted or rejected. Big mistakes people make in the studies is what they do, they adding discussions inside the results. Never do it. Only mention the results in the analysis side. Make clear tables. Also highlight the missing key statistics. What is the discussion? Discussion is basically interpretation of the results. Here you can uh, see the different perspective. You can explain different things, compare it with literatures, and explain why something occurred. So discussion structures must be restate the key findings, then compare with the previous studies, then explain the theoretical meaning and explain the practical implications. So theory integration is extremely important when you are in the writing part. Link findings with the theory, support or challenge the theory, show your contribution. So practical implications that your study must bring is what should managers do, what should industry change, real world implications you must be do. Publication strategy is select right journal, scope of web of science, match the scope and topic, follow the guidelines obviously that will be given. I have one how to select a proper research journal for your publication. There's one when you search it on the YouTube, you will find my paper that has been watched, that has been viewed by more than 2 lakh people. More than 2 lakh, obviously those people are searching about it and they're watching it. So you can search how to select a right research paper by Dr. Farooq Baloch. I have mentioned over there, I think, more than 5 different type of the tools that help you find a proper journal for your research work. How to select a journal? So you can use the Scopus Web of Science databases. This is important. Check impact factor, avoid predatory journal. Yes, while publishing any journal, just ensure that you are not publishing it in some journal that has different websites, so their problem lies, so you need to avoid that. Research paper structure must be right: abstract, introduction, literature review, methodology, results, discussion, and conclusion. This must be your research paper format. What reviewers look for: strong model, clear results, logical discussion, contribution to literature. Why papers get rejected: weak contribution, poor writing, wrong analysis, no theory support. Advanced tip for the PhD student: that tell a story with your research, problem, gap, solution, impact. This must be the proper method. Problem is extremely important. If you're not under, sometimes people might get you wrong that when you talk about the problem too much, because they think that it's about just making a model, collecting the data, and doing the analysis. This is the wrongest approach I have ever seen. I mean, when your problem is not clear from where you will get the gap, from where you get the solution, and what will its impact, obviously there's no use of your research if it does not address any problem, does not provide any solution, and make it easy for the reviewers to decide that whether they need to accept your paper or not. And the final message is that analysis gives you results, writing gives you publication. Master both. And now we will be focusing on the practical side, that how to collect the data. Obviously you can collect it through a Google form. Yeah, I also have a Google form uh, lecture. I will place it somewhere, and then we will also be reading that thing. See you in the next lecture. Thank you. Welcome to practical part of this master class for PhD. So we will be starting with the first thing that we have developed a questionnaire. So I have a lot of questionnaires here, as you can see from my screen. So this AI based decision support, management, generative AI. So you can see AI. So these are different questionnaires we designed. How we designed these questionnaires: you can see this AI capability and marketing performance. Here are the assignments I gave to my PhD students. So what I defined through the literature, we'll start with this marketing performance, for which we have the data, this AI capability and marketing performance. Let me see where is the AI capability and marketing performance. So we will open it. I will tell you that how we implemented all the concepts. Then we will analyze the data and link all the variables. So artificial intelligence and marketing performance, I will open it. So you will find that there is a lot of research on the marketing performance. uh, People talk about AI, but we have to see the capability of the AI in real sense. And Pakistani e-commerce companies, the research is limited, and the mediating role of personalization, quality, and moderating effect of customer privacy concerns. So you can see this is a complete PhD level topic we are studying, and here's the abstract I wrote. The rapid growth of e-commerce Pakistani has intensified the competition among the firms, are compelling marketers to adopt artificial intelligence for customer segmentation, predictive analytics, and personalization. You can see this is generic thing which we often mention in the abstract, and then we have to be specific. However, empirical evidence regarding how AI capability translates into measurable marketing performance in major markets remains limited. Drawing upon resource-based review theory. So I mentioned again and again that when people they make the writings, they make a framework, it is not theoretically justified, it must be theoretically justified. So I have clearly mentioned the theory. So here we do not need to mention the RBV, as we are mentioning it only once. AI capability enhances marketing performance through mediating role of this. Furthermore, we study this as this is abstract of a proposal sort of. We were conducting the study, we mentioned the main theory, who gave it, and then we have the complete framework. So conceptual framework, we can mention it: mediator, moderator, dependent variable, and then we have the clear cut hypothesis, and then we have a questionnaire, and then we have our target that our outer loading must be greater than 0.70. And then we also, yeah, before this the sampling strategy was identified, and then the Chromebook alpha should be 0.70, composite reliability should be greater than 0.70, average variance extracted, this HTMT must be 0.90. 0.85 is a higher ambitious thing, but zero point 0.9, it must be what they call it, a 0.90. So R square we will be measuring for marketing performance for the dependent variable. F square will be measured for all the other IVs. Q square is predictive relevance. Bootstrapping 5000 sample. Mediation is between AI capability, perceived quality, and marketing performance. Moderation is perceived quality multiplied by CPC and its impact on the marketing performance. This is how we write the marketing performance when we are writing it. So I was talking about the expected contribution. So this was sort of a proposal that I gave to my student, and based on this, what we did, we over here generated a questionnaire that is a PhD student, and we sort of asked the gender, e-commerce company, firm size, so only important questions, and then we asked all those questions that we mentioned over there, and we have also mentioned that from where we got the scale. So when we in the Google questionnaire, we go to the responses here. I will download the responses. So now the responses are downloaded, as you can see, in AI capability marketing performance. Our first thing can be generating the demographics and the what they call it, the uh, uh, the descriptives. So for that, earlier we used to use SmartPLS, and then we used to use a few other softwares also exist that mention for example, SPSS. But now ChatGPT is advanced enough to do all these things. So what we will do, we will open the Google Chrome, and we will open that version where I have paid ChatGPT. So here I have paid ChatGPT. I will open it, and I will just give the files. What file? The file we just downloaded. For example, AI capability. Yes, I got the Excel sheet. So I will open it. Okay. Now I need to instruct the ChatGPT. ChatGPT, you okay, I have one YouTube channel where I talk about all the or digital transformation things. For instance, I will go to the YouTube. There's one thing called ChatGPT prompt. Your prompts must be good. So this is my English channel. I already explained all these things step by step in Urdu in a live class. If you have not attended this class, so this class is for you, where we talked about the data analysis, data collection, and oh, this ad. Normally I like it because this sort of give me some payment, but at least not this time. So here you can see we conducted the complete analysis using SmartPLS. We made the tables. You can watch this lecture if you have watched it. So basically, this is what we are going to explain. So we did the SmartPLS analysis in this course, and finally we downloaded the files. So just in case if you do not find anything sort of difficult, or I'm not explaining in detail, then you can refer to this detailed lecture where we explain all the concepts in detail. So this is the research data analysis using SmartPLS plus ChatGPT. So you can watch this thing. So for data cleaning, you can definitely watch this part, because that thing we did easily here using Excel. So by using the Chat GPT. So I was mentioning that why my YouTube channel is important, because in over here I'm uploading around 2000 shorts about basic concepts like what is Chat GPT, what is cloud computing, what is investing. So these kind of concepts are extremely important. So there was one thing called prompt engineering. So this concept you can see. We have mentioned that prompt engineering is the practice of designing inputs to get better outputs from AI systems. So whenever you are writing some prompt to the chat GPT, you must mention that chat GPT, you have a great ability to analyze the demographic and descriptive data. Here is the data I collected for one research paper. Now we have to give him all the things that we got from our assignment. So this was our artificial intelligence assignment. I will copy paste. Here are the details of the paper and the raw file containing the demographics and descriptives also given. Please report the demographics and descriptives under two tables for top level journal. Ensure to report frequency in terms of count and percentage. Make concise and impactful tables. ठीक है, हमने इसको चैट भी दे दिया। थोड़ी सी इसकी जो है ना जो मैंने लिखी है, क्योंकि ये चीज़ अब मैं इसका जो है ना इंग्लिश भी ठीक कर देता हूँ। वैसे इट इज़ स्मार्ट एनफ टू अंडरस्टैंड कि मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ। सो अब ये हम इसको प्रॉम्प्ट दे देते हैं। ठीक है, ये हमें अपना सारा थॉट प्रोसेस बताएगा। किसी चीज़ में अगर ये गलत हो गया होगा तो आपको पता चल रहा होगा कि क्या गलती कर रहा है। सो देखिए, मैं इसको कहा है एआई कैपेबिलिटी, इसने टाइम स्टैम्प बताया, ये हमारा उसने डेटा दिखाया जो हमने उसके साथ शेयर किया है। वाकई ऐसा ही है, ये यहाँ से आप देख सकते हैं। तो ये हमें ना एक डेमोग्राफिक टेबल दे देगा। जब हमें डेमोग्राफिक टेबल हमारे पास आ जाएगा तो अब हम अपना पेपर बनाते हैं। तो ये हमारा पेपर है। इसमें सबसे पहले तो ये जो हमारी चीज़ है, ये टाइटल है। ठीक है, इसको मैं 20 कर देता हूँ, सो दैट मेरे जो आउटलाइन है या जो डॉक्यूमेंट है उस डॉक्यूमेंट को पता चलता जाए कि क्या चीज़ कहाँ पे है। सो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस कैपेबिलिटी एंड मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस इन पाकिस्तानी कमर्शियल फर्म, द मीडिएटिंग रोल ऑफ पर्सनलाइजेशन एंड मॉडरेटिंग पर्सनैलिटी। ठीक है, यहाँ पे हमने एब्स्ट्रैक्ट देना है। सो एब्स्ट्रैक्ट में हम पैराग्राफ नहीं करते, ये आइडियली एक ही पैराग्राफ होना चाहिए। यहाँ पे हमने कीवर्ड्स मेंशन करने होते हैं अगर हम टॉप जर्नल लिख रहे होते हैं। सो ऑब्वियसली कीवर्ड्स हमारे यही हैं, वेरिएबल्स हैं। एक चीज़ है हमारे पास मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस। ठीक है, दूसरा हमारा जो टॉप कीवर्ड है वो क्या है, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस कैपेबिलिटी। हमारा उससे अगला जो है ना वो है पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी, क्वालिटी, और उससे अगला हमारा वेरिएबल है कस्टमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न, प्राइवेसी कंसर्न। अब देखिए हमारे 4 वेरिएबल थे, अब 5वां वेरिएबल मैं चूज करूंगा स्मार्ट पीएलएस एससीएम एनालिसिस, या इसको मैं स्ट्रक्चरल क्वेश्चन मॉडलिंग एनालिसिस भी कर सकता हूँ। यहाँ पे हम लिखेंगे इंट्रोडक्शन को, और इसको भी बिल्कुल हेडिंग 1 देंगे, जैसे एब्स्ट्रैक्ट को हमने हेडिंग 1 दिया वैसे इंट्रोडक्शन को भी हेडिंग 1 देंगे। अगर आपकी हेडिंग 1 की रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं, सो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट वर्ड के ऊपर हमारा ये लेक्चर है नहीं, लेकिन मैं थोड़ा मॉडिफाई करके दे देता हूँ कि हमारे पास जो हेडिंग नॉर्मली होते हैं वो ब्लैक कलर में होती हैं, टाइम्स न्यू रोमन में हम लिखेंगे, इसकी जो साइज है वो 16 होना चाहिए, इसको बोल्ड होना चाहिए, और ये मैं ओके कर देता हूँ, ठीक है। सो अब मेरा कोई भी नेक्स्ट हेडिंग होगा, मैंने कुछ नहीं करना, और मैंने सिर्फ उसको हेडिंग 1 के तौर पर अपनाना है, ठीक है। अब जैसे इंट्रोडक्शन है, इसको भी मैं बोल दूंगा कि ये मेरा क्या है, हेडिंग 1 है। सो हमने 5 हेडिंग्स देने हैं, हेडिंग 1 एग्जैक्टली वैसे ही हो गया जैसे मैं चाहता हूँ। तो अब मैं मुझे बार बार सेटिंग करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। सो मीनवाइल हम देख लेते हैं, चैट जीपीटी ने हमारे टेबल बना दिए होंगे। ये हमारे टेबल्स ने बना दिए, डेमोग्राफिक, प्रोफाइल, रिस्पोंडेंट, N33, जेंडर, फ्रीक्वेंसी, ई कॉमर्स, फर्म साइज, एक्सपीरियंस, डेजिग्नेशन, ठीक है। तो ये एक बेहतरीन टेबल है, इसका यहाँ पे मैं कॉपी कर लूंगा, और कॉपी करके यहाँ पे मैंने कहाँ इसको पेस्ट करना है, मैं इसका जो है ना एक इंट्रोडक्शन का बनाऊंगा, एक मेरे पास ना इसका लिटरेचर का एक पूरा वो है, डाटा आया हुआ है, मैंने वेब ऑफ साइंस से ये सारा डाटा निकाला है। तो हम इसका लिटरेचर का भी एक फ्रेमवर्क बनाएंगे, एक इंट्रोडक्शन का हेडिंग हमारा हो जाएगा, दूसरा हमारा हो जाएगा लिटरेचर रिव्यू का, तीसरा हमारा होगा रिसर्च मेथड का, चौथा हमारा होगा डाटा एनालिसिस एंड फाइंडिंग्स का, पांचवा हमारा होगा डिस्कशन एंड कंक्लूजन का, ठीक है। तो हमने अब ये जो टेबल्स हम बनाते जा रहे हैं, इनको अभी हमने डंप करना है कहाँ पे जाकर, डाटा एनालिसिस और फाइंडिंग्स में। इन सबको हेडिंग 1 देना है ताकि ये सारे सिमेट्री में काम करते रहें। तो अब हमने ये वाला टेबल उसने हमें बना के दिया है, तो इसको हम देखते हैं कि हम इसको कैसे सीधा कर सकते हैं। सबसे पहली चीज, जब भी आप कहीं से कुछ कॉपी पेस्ट करें तो उसका फॉर्मेट क्लियर कर दिया करें ताकि वो आपके फॉर्मेट में आ जाए। उसके बाद आपके पास उसके लिए ना उसको एनालिसिस करना, उसको ठीक करना अच्छा आपके लिए रहता है। तो जैसे इसके अपने टेबल्स के फॉर्मेट हैं वो हमें पसंद नहीं है, हम अपने फॉर्मेट टेबल के बनाएंगे। सबसे पहले जेंडर है, तो नॉर्मली जैसे ये जेंडर है मेल फीमेल या मिसिंग है, मिसिंग को जो है ना हम रहने देते हैं, इसको हम अदर कर देते हैं। वैसे ये मिसिंग है तो इसको हम वैसे रिमूव भी कर सकते हैं, या उस बंदे ने रिस्पांस देना मुनासिब नहीं समझा। ई कॉमर्स सेक्टर को भी हम ऐसे ही देख लेते हैं, ऐसे ही हमने मर्ज कर दिया ई कॉमर्स को। सो इस तरीके से हमारा टेबल थोड़ा सा आपको लग रहा है बेहतर लग रहा है। सो ब्लाइंडली हमने हमने उससे काम करवाया, या तो हम जो है ना खुद बैठ के काम करते या हम इसको बोल देते, तो इसने हमें ये टेबल बना के दिया है। ये आप अगर टॉप लेवल के जर्नल्स देखेंगे उनमें ऐसे ही होता है। सो ये नहीं होता कि हर एक डेमोग्राफिक का उसका अलग अलग हो। तो यहाँ पे मैं कह देता हूँ डेमोग्राफिक कैटेगरी, ग्राफिक कैटेगरी, ये फ्रीक्वेंसी एन होता है, परसेंटेज ये होता है, ठीक है। तो इसमें हमारे पास सारे परसेंटेजेस भी दिए गए हैं। सो ये नंबर हमें सही लगता है। अगर आप बाद में इसको हम बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे, लेकिन हमारे पास एक अच्छा टेबल आ गया है। तो ये क्या है, तो हमारे डेमोग्राफिक्स का टेबल है। दूसरा हमने इससे मांगा है डिस्क्रिप्टिव्स का, एआई कैपेबिलिटी का, मीन स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन, इसका स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन, ये चीजें उसने हमें दी हैं। अगर हम चाहें तो हम इससे क्लियर कट जो है ना वेरिएबल लेवल का एक टेबल मांग सकते हैं। मीन स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन नॉर्मली हम पेपर्स में रिपोर्ट नहीं करते, लेकिन आपने अपने उसमें करना है। अच्छा, इसको अगर आपने कैप्शन देना है तो इसको आपने राइट क्लिक करके इंसर्ट कैप्शन करें, फिर ऑटोमेटिक टेबल आपका बनेगा जैसे टेबल ऑफ कंटेंट का बनता है। टेबल का है तो टेबल को हम बोल देंगे डेमोग्राफिक्स ऑफ द स्टडी, अभी हम यही बोल देते हैं, ठीक है। तो ये ऊपर आ जाएगा। ऐसे करके हमने डिस्क्रिप्टिव्स ऑफ द स्टडी भी यहाँ पे डाल देंगे। बिल्कुल वैसे ही चीजें आई हैं जैसे वहां थी। इसने आप देखें ना खुद ही कोडिंग की है आपके लिए, एआई कैपेबिलिटी की, पर्सनलाइजेशन की। ये कोडिंग करके आपके डाटा को ट्रांसफॉर्म करके उसके सारे रिजल्ट ये ले आया है। वैसे ही आप रिपोर्ट कर सकते हैं। मीन जो हायर है, जिसका स्टैंडर्ड डिवीएशन है, वो हम ये सारी चीज़ें आगे रिपोर्ट कर सकते हैं। हम उसको कह भी सकते हैं कि ये हमारा कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, इसकी थोड़ी बहुत डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखें, लेकिन फिर हमने उसको अपने फॉर्मेट में लाजमी करना है। जैसे माइक्रोसॉफ्ट आपके लिए एक टूल है, वैसे ही चैट जीपीटी जैसे टूल्स भी अब आप लोगों के लिए। तो ये आपको थोड़ा बहुत आइडिया होगा ये हम क्यों कर रहे हैं। इसी तरीके से हम इसको ये भी कह सकते हैं चैट जीपीटी को कि नाउ प्रिपेयर द अटैच्ड एक्सेल शीट फॉर स्मार्ट PLS रेडी कॉमा CVS फाइल। ठीक है, ये आपको स्मार्ट PLS रेडी कॉमा CVS फाइल बनाकर दे देगा। तो वो यहाँ पे ना अपना पूरा प्रोसेस बता रहा था कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ। अभी वो कह रहे थिंकिंग, तो प्रिपेयरिंग द स्प्रेडशीट एंड आर्टिफैक्ट हैंड ऑफ। ठीक है, ऐसे करके वो आपको बताता जाएगा पूरे प्रोसेस को। तो ये हमारे पास स्मार्ट PLS है। अब इस स्मार्ट PLS में हमने क्या करना है, न्यू प्रोजेक्ट करना है। तो मैं इसको कह देता हूँ मास्टर एंड PhD लेवल डाटा एनालिसिस। हमने डबल क्लिक करके डाटा डाउनलोड करना है। कौन सा, स्मार्ट PLS फिक्स डाटा। ये वही डाटा है जो कि वहां पे हमने डिस्कस किया था। तो इसका जब हम फ्रेमवर्क बनाएंगे, हमने कुछ चीजें देखनी है। यहाँ से हमारे पास वेरिएबल है, ये कौन सा है, ये है AI कैपेबिलिटी। तो इसको हम ऐसे ही वेरिएबल राइट क्लिक करके AI कैपेबिलिटी कर देंगे, कैपेबिलिटी। ऐसे ही करके हम यहाँ पे इसको क्या कर देंगे, परसीव्ड क्वालिटी का हमारा वेरिएबल था, इसको मैं कह देता हूँ क्वालिटी। ऐसे ही करके हम लोग जो है ना, इसको क्या था, कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न हमारा एक वेरिएबल था, उसको मैं वैसे लिख देता हूँ कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न्स। ऐसे करके मैं इसका एक और वेरिएबल बना देता हूँ मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस का, मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस। तो हमारे साथ जो है ना, ये जो कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी है, ये क्योंकि है तो मॉडरेटर, लेकिन अभी हम इसको आईवी की जगह रख देते हैं। मॉडल में ये होता है कि जब तक आपके मॉडल के सारे लैंस कनेक्टेड ना हो, तब तक आपका मॉडल काम नहीं करता। सो हमने क्या करना है, परसीव्ड क्वालिटी ये हमारा आ गया। परसीव्ड क्वालिटी हमारा मीडिएटर और मॉडरेटर क्या था, ये जरा हम यहाँ से दोबारा से देख लेते हैं। हमने ये सोचा था कि जो मॉडरेशन है वो कस्टमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न है, मीडिएशन हमारा पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी है। सो पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी, ये परसीव्ड क्वालिटी नहीं है, ये पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी है। मैं लेटेंट वेरिएबल की तरफ जाऊंगा, और सॉरी कनेक्ट की तरफ जाऊंगा। अगर कनेक्ट हमारा नहीं होता तो मैं सिलेक्ट की तरफ जाऊंगा, सॉरी सिलेक्ट की तरफ जाके इसको मैं जो है ना पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी कर देता हूँ, पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी QUALITY। ठीक है, तो ये जो है ना हमारा मीडिएटर है। सो आई हैव टू कनेक्ट दिस टू दिस गाय एंड आल्सो दिस गाय मस्ट बी कनेक्टेड हियर। तो ये सॉर्ट ऑफ हमारे पास एक वेरिएबल की एक मॉडल बन जाता है। मैं आपको जो वो बता रहा था ना कि फ्रेमवर्क आप ऐसा सिलेक्ट करें जो बाद में आपके PLS-SEM के मॉडल में फिट हो सके। थोड़ा बहुत हम यहाँ पे कुछ फीचर्स यूज कर सकते हैं, लाइक हम यहाँ पे कलर्स का कुछ और कर सकते हैं अगर आप करें, ठीक है ना। यहाँ इसको कोई और कलर लगा सकते हैं। अब हमने सबसे पहले जो है ना स्मार्ट PLS एल्गोरिदम रन करना है, और हमने जो है ना देखनी है बेसिक स्टैट्स। इसके बेसिक स्टैट्स में हमने एक बात की थी कि सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज क्या थे, आउटर लोडिंग्स है। तो वो हमें क्या बताता है, यहाँ पे पाथ कोफिशिएंट्स है इसके, इफेक्ट ये आउटर लोडिंग है इसके। जहां जहां हमने कहा लोडिंग 0.40 से नीचे होगी वो हमने नहीं रखनी, 0.40 से 0.70 तक रख सकते हैं, वैसे 75 से ऊपर होना चाहिए। हमारे सारे वेरिएबल्स के जो आउटर लोडिंग्स हैं वो ठीक है। ठीक है, एआई कैपेबिलिटी के ऑटो लोडिंग सही है, इसके सही हैं, इसके सही हैं, इसके सही हैं। फिर हमने देखा था कि जी आर स्क्वायर को देखना है, हमने आर स्क्वायर 0.75, 0.835, 0.835 सारे जो आर स्क्वायर है हमारे, जो मीडिएशन के थ्रू ऑब्वियसली जा रहे हैं, मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस के, पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी के, वो सारे सही हैं। एफ स्क्वायर इम्पैक्ट साइज को मैटर करता है, 0.445 यहाँ पे हाई है, मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस पे 0.080, 0.060, ये स्मॉल है लेकिन इसका कोई थ्रेशोल्ड नहीं है, ठीक है। मॉडल फिटनेस में हमने इसको कहा था कि एस आर एम आर हमारा 0.080 से कितना होना चाहिए, कम होना चाहिए, जो कि हमारा कम है, 0.08 से कम होना चाहिए, तो वो हमारा पहले से कम है। एन एफ आई हमारे लिए मैटर नहीं करता, बाकी फैक्टर्स मैटर नहीं करते, हमने सिर्फ एस आर एम आर को सही करना था, तो हमारा मॉडल भी सही है। लेकिन हमें कहीं ना कहीं उसको कोलिनियरिटी स्टैटिस्टिक्स को देखना है, तो वो थोड़े से हमारे नंबर्स सही नहीं है, इनको हमने फिक्स करना है। फिक्स करने का जो तरीका था, हमने कहा था कि हमने क्रोमबाग रिलायबिलिटी और वैलिडिटी को देखना है। इसके लिए हमारे पास क्रोमबाग अल्फा, रहू, कंपोजिट रिलायबिलिटी आ जाते हैं, हमारे पास इनके टेबल्स भी आ जाते हैं। नॉर्मली पीएचडी थीसिस में हमें सफ़े ज़्यादा भरने होते हैं यूनिवर्सिटीज, तो पीएचडी और एमएस में आप ये वाले ग्राफ रख सकते हैं। अदरवाइज अगर आप पेपर के लिए कर रहे हैं तो सबका जो है ना एक टेबल बनाना है, और एक टेबल भी नहीं बनाना बल्कि मेजरमेंट का सिर्फ एक टेबल बनाना है, वो मैं आपको सिखाऊंगा आपने कैसे करना है, ठीक है। तो अब हमने जो है ना इसकी सारी चीजें देख ली हैं। अब इशू जो है ना आ रहा है, वो वीआईएफ का जो आ रहा था वो आ रहा होगा इसकी वजह से। ये फॉरेन लॉकर का क्राइटेरिया है, ये हमने कहा ओल्ड मेथड है डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी का। अब क्योंकि आप सारे कंसेप्ट समझते हैं, हमने लेक्चर पढ़ा हुआ है, तो अगर आपने नहीं पढ़ा हुआ तो पहले आप लेक्चर को पढ़ें फिर इस पार्ट को देखें। अब ये जो है ना, ये एआई कैपेबिलिटी, ये है स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ ईवी 0.884 एवरेज वेरिएंस एक्सट्रैक्टेड। इसको जो है ना, ये जो कोरिलेशन है बिटवीन एआई कैपेबिलिटी एंड इससे हायर होना चाहिए, यानी ये 0.884 नीचे वाले सबसे बड़ा है तो ठीक है, नहीं तो मसला है। 0.9414 सबसे बड़ा है तो ठीक है, सबसे बड़ा है तो ठीक है। अब ये आप देख सकते हैं, ये सबसे बड़ा है, यानी ये जो स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ ईवी जो एआई कैपेबिलिटी के बीच में रखा गया है, ये कोरिलेशन से बड़ा है। ऐसे ही कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी भी बाकी कोरिलेशन से बड़ा है। ये जो निचला वाला नंबर ना 0.78, ये कोरिलेशन है बिटवीन कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी एंड द एआई कैपेबिलिटी, ठीक है। फिर हमने क्रॉस लोडिंग चेक करने, लेकिन पहले हम HTMT में देखते हैं। तो HTMT में बहुत मसाइल हैं। तो 3 हमारे वेरिएबल्स के HTMT सही नहीं है। एक ये इसका बल्कि ये अच्छा जो है ना, हमने मॉडल चूज किया है जिसके डाटा में इतने मसले हैं कि आप लोग जो है ना डायग्नोस्टिक एक्सपर्ट हो जाएंगे। आप खुद लोगों को कह रहे होंगे कि मुझे अपना डाटा दो, मैं आपका डाटा फिक्स करता हूँ। अच्छा, मैंने ना इस डायग्नोस्टिक के मसले को हल करने की कोशिश की है चैट जीपीटी के थ्रू, चैट जीपीटी नहीं कर पाया। सो चैट जीपीटी फेल हुआ था ये एनालिसिस करने में। ये आपके लिए फिर थोड़ा सा ना हेल्पफुल हो जाएगा इंशाल्लाह ताला। तो अब हमने जो चीज़ देखनी है जो ह्यूमन देख सकता है, दो इश्यूज हैं। एक तो ये है कि ये एआई कैपेबिलिटी का वेरिएबल है, और ये पर्सनलाइजेशन का है। इसका ये जो 0.903 है, इसका मतलब ये है कि पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी और एआई कैपेबिलिटी में कहीं ना कहीं सेम क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है, 0.903। इसको इजीली हम जो है ना कर सकते हैं, इजीली ला सकते हैं 0.90 तक। ये जो 0.904 है, ये भी इजी है। असल जो प्रॉब्लम है मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस और कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न के बीच में है, जो कि 0.930। इसके हल का सोल्यूशन ये है कि या तो आप कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न का कोई आइटम डिलीट कर दें जिसका हायर लोडिंग आ रहा हो पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी में, या पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी का डिलीट कर दें जिसका हायर लोडिंग आ रहा हो कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न में। तो तरीका ये है कि आप क्रॉस लोडिंग्स में जाएंगे और आप ये देखेंगे कि इनमें से, और हाँ, आप लिखते भी जाएंगे, नोटबुक लेंगे, लिखते जाएंगे, जो जो आइटम, जो जो चीज आप रिमूव कर रहे हैं वो आपने बाद में बताना भी है। तो हमने क्या किया, हमने कहा कि दो हमारे पास वेरिएबल्स हैं, लेट मी लुक इनटू दैट अगेन, सॉरी 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 सॉरी। हाँ, जो हमने HTMT वाला था, ये था कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न और पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी। अच्छा, इसका एक तरीका ये भी होता है कि आप सिंपली जो है ना, ये सिंपली यहाँ पे जिसकी लोडिंग कम हो जब आप मॉडल पे जाते हैं तो उसको आप रिमूव करें, उससे भी आपका आधा मसला, सॉरी ये वाला है, ये वाला हमारा जिसकी लोडिंग कम हो उसको भी हम रिमूव कर सकते हैं। सो फॉर इंस्टेंस ये कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न वाला है 0.90.94, CPC5 की लोडिंग कम है कंपेयर टू अदर्स, इसको हम उड़ा सकते हैं। दूसरा पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी में जो सबसे कम है जिसकी लोडिंग 0.881, 0.81, मतलब ये यहाँ लोडिंग्स बहुत हाई है, तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट टू डिसाइड है। तो मतलब ये आउटर लोडिंग्स बहुत ज़्यादा हाई है, तो इस वजह से हम जाएंगे कौन से लोडिंग्स में, क्रॉस लोडिंग्स में। क्रॉस लोडिंग्स को देखते हैं, यहाँ पे जाकर क्रॉस लोडिंग्स आती हैं हमारे। तो हमने क्रॉस लोडिंग्स में से कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न और पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी, इनमें कौन सी ऐसी है। पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी में ये देखिए ना, पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी की यहाँ पे आ रही है 0.881, 0.733, 0.70, 0.8785, 88776, 90273, 90273। देखा ना, ये तो पक्का गया PQ1। मुझे लगता है PQ1 को अगर हम उड़ा देंगे तो हालात बेहतर हो जाएंगे। तो हम यहाँ पे जाएंगे, PQ1 को उड़ा देंगे। ठीक है, जैसे मैंने आपको कहा ना, जिसकी लोडिंग सबसे कम होगी, एक तरीका यह है कि हम इसको उड़ा दें। तो आप देख सकते हैं, इसमें हम पहले सोच रहे थे कि PQ1 को उड़ा देंगे या इसको उड़ा देंगे, CPC5 को उड़ा देंगे। तो खैर PQ1 ही हमें लगा है, जिसकी लोडिंग वहां पे भी ज्यादा थी। तो हम PLS एल्गोरिदम में जाके जाएंगे और जाके देखेंगे इसको। तो अब हम देखते हैं कंस्ट्रक्ट वैलिडिटी और लायबिलिटी का मसला। डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी और लायबिलिटी का मसला HTMT वाला हल हुआ या नहीं हुआ। आप ये देख सकते हैं कि पर्सनलाइजेशन वाला मसला हल हो गया। अब हमारा ये जो 0.908 हो गया, ये 0.3 हो गया। एक मुझे वैसे एक वो है, एक शक है कि अगर इस भाई साहब को हम रिमूव करेंगे ना, ये CPC5 को, तब हमारे हालात बेहतर हो जाएंगे। पता नहीं मुझे क्यों लग रहा है, लेकिन हम चलो उड़ा देते हैं। वैसे CPC5 की लोडिंग कम है, तो मेरे हमारे पास ना एक लॉजिकल रीजन है। ऐसा नहीं है कि हमने जो है ना ऐसे ही उसको उड़ा दिया। तो आपके पास दो तरीके होते हैं कि या तो वहां पे वो कम हो, क्रॉस लोडिंग ज्यादा हो। हाँ, थोड़ा सा फर्क पड़ा है, 0.920 से 0.930 से आया CPC का, जो 5 वाला हमने रिमूव कर दिया। अब CPC का है मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस के अगेंस्ट, तो हमने एक जो है ना मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस से भी हटाना है। 0.8, 0.9, 0.9 MP1 ही मैं हटा के देखूंगा। अब देखता हूँ क्या बनता है। वैसे मुझे लगता है कि ये जो लेसर लोडिंग वाले स्केल को हटाना है ना, ये मुझे कोई रिजल्ट नहीं देगा। उम्मीद नहीं है मुझे, लेकिन हो सकता है कोई उम्मीद निकल आए, उम्मीद निकल आया। तो अब हमारे पास दो चीजें रह गई हैं। एक ये कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न 0.907 पे आके रह गया है। और जब हम अच्छा, ये यूं यूं ये ठीक होते जाए ना, आप ये देखिएगा कि हमारा जो VIF है ना, वो खुद ब खुद ठीक हो गया। अब हमारा VIF सिर्फ MP3 का है और कोई मसला नहीं है। मतलब मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस 3 का जो क्वेश्चनियर है। सो अगर हम सिर्फ ये मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस 3 का जो क्वेश्चनियर है, इसको हटा के देख लें क्या बनता है। जब हम किसी एक चीज को सॉल्व करते हैं ना, तो क्योंकि अब रिसर्च तो ओवरऑल एक वो है, हमारा काम है। नहीं, देखिए, मार्केटिंग 3 के परफॉर्मेंस को हमने उसको रिमूव नहीं करना था। यहाँ पे मैं इसको Ctrl+Z कर देता हूँ, ताकि हम इसको बोल दें कि सुबह का भूला शाम को वापस आ गया। ठीक है, अब हमारे पास यहाँ पे भी ऑप्शंस हैं, एक किधर से रिमूव कर सकते हैं। 1 2 3 30% अगर रिमूव कर सकते हैं, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं। अगर 5 हैं तो उनमें से इजीली समहाउ एक रिमूव कर सकते हैं। 30% का ये मतलब होता है। सो हमने एक उससे पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी से रिमूव किया है, एक CPC से किया है, एक M से किया है। हमारे पास एक और ऑप्शन बचा हुआ है, जो कि हम अभी अवेल कर लेंगे और देखते हैं उसको कैसे अवेल करना है। सो अब हम इसको देखने की कोशिश करते हैं। सॉरी, कहाँ पे देखने की कोशिश करते थे, हाँ, क्रॉस लोडिंग्स में हम जाके इसको कोशिश करते हैं। तो क्रॉस लोडिंग्स में जाते हैं और देखते हैं कि जो CPC के हमारे पास वो तो हो गया है। AIC के ना 5 बचे हुए हैं। AIC के 5 में से हम जो है ना, AIC 0.83 है, इसकी सबके आगे लोडिंग ओके है। 0.916 है, लोडिंग ओके है। AIC3 0.899 है, फिर भी ओके है। 0.886 है, इसको कहीं पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी से जो है ना कुछ निकाला जा सकता है। 0.874 का 0.803 है। ये टफ क्वेश्चन है, इन दोनों में से कौन सा जो है ना डिफरेंस कम है। 0.874, 0.873, ये तो तकरीबन 0.73 के करीब हो जाएगा। ये 0.866 और 0.7, मुझे लगता है AIC5 जो है ना हम रिमूव करेंगे तब कुछ होगा। तो हम जो है ना AC 5, एक मिनट, हम यही देख रहे थे ना कि हमने चलो AC 5 को रिमूव करके देख लेते हैं। सो हमने देखा कि AC 5 से भी कुछ नहीं बना, तो हम जो है ना दोबारा से देख लेते हैं। इसको मैं दोबारा से ले आता हूँ। सो हमने जो है ना जैसे एक मिनट दें, एक दफ़ा फिर जो है ना इसका PLS एल्गोरिदम रन करना है और वी हैव टू सी कि कहाँ से गलती हुई है, क्योंकि दिस इज द रियल प्रॉब्लम। जब तक हमारा HTMT आप देख सकते हैं हमने दो का फिक्स किया है, ये मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस और आ, अब जो इशू है वो कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न और मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस के बीच में है। तो ये जो यहाँ से ना हमने पहले भी एक एक आइटम रिमूव किया है, अब मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि कहीं और से आइटम रिमूव हो इसके लिए। तो अब मैं जो है ना वो मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस और कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न CPC, इन दोनों में से देख लेते हैं कि कहाँ से कर सकते हैं। दिस इज समथिंग दैट इज डेफिनेटली टफ। इसको मैं कर देता हूँ, मैं हटा देता हूँ इसको, मैं इससे देख लेते हैं। MP2 MP3 MP2 के आगे जो MP का स्कोर है ये वो यहाँ पे 0.928 0.813, इतनी बड़ी बात नहीं है। 0.948 0.928 73 0.936 0.948, ये CPC 4 या तो CPC 4 हटाना पड़ेगा या फिर MP2। तो पहले हम CPC 4 हटा के देख लेते हैं। CPC 4 हटा देते हैं। अभी भी 3 जो है ना मिनिमम आइटम्स होने चाहिए, तो हम देखते हैं क्या रिजल्ट निकल आता है। अच्छा, इसमें ये है कि इस तरह रिमूव करने से ना ओवरऑल जो मॉडल फिटनेस है वो उस पर इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है। अब आप देख सकते हैं आपकी जो पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी है वो जो है ना 0.90 पे आ गई है। ये हमारा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो गया है। नो वी नीड टू, अब हम हमारे टोटल कितने आइटम्स थे ये हमने देखना है। क्या 30% से ज़्यादा तो रिमूव किया, तो सबके हमारे 5-5 थे। तो 4 थे तो 5 चौक 20, 20 में से हमने अपने एक यहाँ से रिमूव किया है, एक यहाँ से किया, 2 और 2 यहाँ से किया, 4 हमने रिमूव किया है। तो हम इजीली एक और रिमूव कर सकते हैं। और वो जो है ना अब अगर हम देख लें तो हमने बिल्कुल हम थ्रेशोल्ड पे खड़े हैं, 0.901 पे खड़े हैं। अभी भी हमने कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न और पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी में देखना है क्रॉस लोडिंग्स को। कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न्स और पर्सनलाइजेशन में अगर हम देख लें 936 843 94174 92575 MP2 कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न एंड पर्सनलाइजेशन। तो ठीक है, कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न वाले किधर है, पर्सनलाइजेशन वाले 0.70 0.83 0.79 9.83, 0.74, 0.74, 0.936, 0.719, 0.902, 0.709.84। कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न में भी ना हमारे पास 3 रह गए और यहाँ पे भी हमारे पास 3 रह गए। और इशू हमारा जो है ना पर्सनलाइजेशन और कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न में आ रहा है। सो पर्सनल क्वालिटी और कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न में आ रहा है। सो हम क्रॉस लोडिंग्स में अब रियल क्वेश्चन ये है, कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न्स और पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी में हमारे पास अभी भी एक की गुंजाइश है। सो पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी में से एक को हटा देते हैं, ठीक है। तो एक हम जो है ना personalization on quality and privacy concerns, personalization on quality CPC1 CPC के तो हमने 2 यहाँ पे रिमूव किए हुए जो हमारे पास एनालिसिस है ना। एक दफा मैं देख लेता हूँ CPC हम किसको कह रहे हैं, CPC और PQ3, PQ2, PQ3, PQ5, 1 2 3 4, हाँ इनमें से करना है। 0.76, 0.83, 0.74, 797, 0.973, PQ2 जा रहा है फिर इस हिसाब से। तो चलें इसको हटा के देख लेते हैं PQ2। तो अब देखते हैं क्या बनता है। तो ये भी चांस होता है कि HTMT हमने यहाँ से रिमूव किया है और हमारा जो है ना कहीं और सही ना आए। अब देखते हैं इससे जो है ना उल्टा नुकसान बढ़ गया है, 0.97 पे था 0.91 पे आए। तो हमने जो है ना उसको वापस लेना है। हम दोबारा से देख लेते हैं कि हमारा जो VIF है वो उसमें कहाँ पे इशू है। तो शायद यहाँ से हमें कुछ सुराग मिल जाए। सो कोलिनियरिटी के VIF में जाएंगे, वो कह रहा है MP3 में इशू है, लेकिन MP3 हमारे पहले जो है ना वो हैं अच्छा MP में हमारे पास शुक्र अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह 2 हैं अभी और 3 बच जाएंगे, एक और अगर रिमूव कर देते हैं तो ठीक है। देख लेते हैं शायद VIF से ही हमारी ये वाला फैक्टर रिमूव करने से ही हमारा HTMT फिक्स हो जाए। नहीं, HTMT फिक्स होने के बजाय वो यहाँ पे तो वैसा हो गया लेकिन उसका HTMT खराब हो गया। तो हम इसको वापस ले लेते हैं, इसको हम वापस ले लेते हैं। MP1 को दोबारा SmartPLS रन करते हैं और ये देखने की कोशिश करते हैं कि ओवरऑल इस मॉडल में कहाँ पे स्पेस है। 0.843 अगर हम AIC1 को रिमूव करके देख लेते हैं। वैसे इसको होगा नहीं क्योंकि AIC तो मुझे नहीं लगता होगा, क्योंकि AIC तो प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है ना हमारे लिए, लेकिन हमने काम खराब कर दिया AIC1 से। तो अब इसका जो रिकमेंडेड तरीका ये होता है कि AIC के इतने ज्यादा वेरिएबल्स हैं, एक भी रिमूव नहीं हुआ है। AIC के इस वजह से भी स्टार्ट ठीक आए होंगे कि AIC जो है ना, मैं सबसे पहले जब जो रिस्पोंडेंट से रिस्पांस पूछा सबसे पहले AIC वालों का पूछा है, तो इसका ये फायदा हो गया होगा AIC वालों को। सो उसके नंबर्स बहुत अच्छे हैं। तो 0.90 पे पर्सनलाइजेशन आ गया है, 0.901 पे आ गया है, दोनों हैं ठीक है। तो जो है ना कहीं हम जो है ना कामयाब हो गए इसको हटाने से, ये वाले बंदे को हटाने से, AIC2 को। लेकिन अगर हम AIC में से AIC2 को हटाने के बाद 0.836 AIC1 भी हटा दें, फिर देखते हैं क्या होता है। 0.917 डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी बढ़ गई है। तो हम वापस लेते हैं इस वाले को भी, जो हमारा फैसला था AIC2 वाला, 4 रिमूव करके देख लेते हैं। 3 किया था हमने, वैसे 3 देखना चाहिए था। Ctrl+G करके 3 एक दफा रिमूव करके देख लेते हैं क्या फर्क पड़ेगा। अच्छा, ऐसे करके ना हमने अपने मॉडल को फिट करना है। जब तक आपकी डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी सही नहीं है, तब तक आपके डाटा में झोल है। तो 0.901 है, 0.90 है, वैसे चलाने को तो हम चला सकते हैं, कि ये आप देखें ना, मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस भी 0.90 के साथ जो है ना बिल्कुल लग के बैठा हुआ है। तो हम कहीं ना कहीं इसको यहाँ से लेके चल सकते हैं, लेकिन क्योंकि हम लक ट्राई कर रहे हैं तो करते ही हैं। मजीद देखते हैं इसको, मजीद यहाँ पे क्रॉस लोडिंग में जाके देखते हैं कि अब हमारे पास AIC के जो है ना, एक यहाँ से भी गया है CPC123, MPB, MP4, MP5 में से किसी बंदे को लेके जाया जा सकता है। सो मार्केटिंग परफॉर्मेंस के एक एक वेरिएबल को देखते हैं। वैसे प्रॉब्लम कहाँ पे है ये हमने देखना है। प्रॉब्लम जो है ना वो कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न CPC और PQ में है। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि PQ और कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी कंसर्न CPC, इसमें 3 रह गए। इसमें अभी एक को हम रिमूव कर सकते हैं पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी में से, वो जरा हम देख लेते हैं फिर। पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी पर्सनलाइजेशन क्वालिटी 0.893, 0.709, 0.902, 0.719, 0.936, 797। इसका और कहाँ पर है? 123 PQ2 PQ5 0.7.90। चलो जी, अल्लाह का नाम लेके PQ5 को हटा देते हैं। होपफुली इट विल रिजॉल्व आवर डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी। नहीं तो अगर आप डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी के आपके पास ये सिचुएशन आ गई है, तो हम 0.90 के साथ देख रहे हैं कि वो इंस्टेड ऑफ कि वो कम हो जाता, वो बढ़ गया है हमारा। तो हमने जो 12 जो है ना उसको लेकर आना है। PQ5 को, PQ4 को ट्राई कर लेते हैं। PQ वाले में से कोई एक अगर रिमूव करके हमारा मसला हल हो जाता है, वेल एंड गुड। नहीं, ये तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं करना चाहिए था, तो ब्लंडर हो गया। तो इसको वापस ले आते हैं, PQ3 को देख लेते हैं। आप ये देख सकते हैं कि डाटा में ना इस लेवल का जब आपका, अब देख इतनी मेहनत हम कर रहे हैं, अभी भी हमें कोई सुराग नहीं मिल रहा। तो डाटा इस लेवल पे आके मॉडल फिट है कि हमारा जो डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी है वो 0.901 है। तो हम थोड़ा सा गूगल भी कर लेते हैं, हो सकता है इस तरह की सिचुएशन में जब बाकी सारी डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी के नंबर सही हैं, एक नंबर के साथ हम शायद प्रोसीड करके चलें। HTMT देखें ना, ये हमारा 0.01 से जो है ना 3 तक आ गया। तो हम इससे ना कोई भी बंदा रिमूव नहीं कर सकते, ये हमने कंक्लूड किया है। फिर हम यहाँ से शुरू करते हैं MP3 से, शायद MP से हमें कोई सोल्यूशन मिल जाए। नहीं मिलता, हम दोबारा उसी चीज पे आएंगे, क्योंकि हमने नहीं, हमारा जो लेवल है ना इसका वो मिनिमम इसको हमने फिक्स लाजमी करना है। मजबूरी की सूरत में ऐसा हमें कोई भी ऑप्शन नहीं मिलता, फिर हम गूगल करेंगे कि अच्छा 0.01 अगर डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी आ रहा हो तो क्या वो एक्सेप्टेबल है या नहीं है। लेकिन इसको तो हम नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि जो जो हम एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे हैं वो एक्सपेरिमेंट उल्टा हमें सही हम पे नहीं बैठ रहा, उल्टा हमें नुकसान दे रहा है। अगर यहाँ से भी हमें इशू नहीं होता, जैसे हमें इशू मजीद हो जाता है अगर हम कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं बनते, तो इसका और सोल्यूशन है कि हम पर मजीद जो है ना डाटा कलेक्ट करेंगे। तो इसको हम ये देख लेते हैं डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी को 0.901 फर्क नहीं पड़ा, हालांकि हमने एक रिमूव कर दिया है। तो इसको हम दोबारा से लाते हैं, एक दफ़ा MP5 को देख लेते हैं, शायद इससे कोई फर्क पड़े। मजबूरी की सूरत में हम एक और आइटम वहां से रिमूव कर सकते हैं, बट वो भी रिकमेंडेड नहीं है। 0.901 इसमें फर्क ही नहीं पड़ रहा। हमने कंज्यूमर प्राइवेसी और PQ वाले एक एक को रिमूव करके अब हम देख लेंगे आखिर में, तो देखते हैं कि क्या रिस्पांस आता है। बल्कि PQ वालों का शायद हमने पहले एक एक करके देखा है, तो CPC को हम कर नहीं सकते, CPC को 2 के साथ कर सकते हैं। अभी हम गूगल कर लेते हैं कि बल्कि चैट GPT से पूछ लेते हैं कि इस सिचुएशन में हम फंस गए, अब हम क्या करें। स्नैपिंग टूल से पूछ लेते हैं, इसको कॉपी करके से पूछ लेते हैं चैट GPT से कि वी हैव सॉल्व्ड, क्योंकि अब हमने जब शुरू किया था तो 3 पे मसला चल रहा था। अभी ये भी 9.90 से जो है ना वो होना चाहिए, क्या बोलते हैं, कम होना चाहिए, 0.90 चाहिए, हमारा है 0.901। हमने किसको कैसे करना है। आवर HTMT for all the variables is fixed after removing 20% items. Now we are stuck here. Can we proceed with 0.901? Any reference? ठीक है, अगर हमें रेफरेंस मिल जाता है, वो इजाजत दे देता है, तो फिर हम yes you can proceed with HMT content, but you must justify the academic and carefully. This is exactly how top use journal handle model and values. Let's break down like a reviewer. स्ट्रिक्ट जो हैंसलर का क्राइटेरिया था वो 0.85 था, लिबरल एक्सेप्टेबल है वो 0.90, योर वैल्यू स्लाइटली अबव 0.90 बाय 0.001. This is not a serious violation. You can proceed if cross loadings are clean, favorable locker accept, फॉरेन लॉकर हमारा एक्सेप्टेबल है, AV सही है, थ्योरेटिकल डिस्टिंक्ट हमारा एग्जिस्ट करता है, मार्जिनल है, वैसे 0.90901 में इतना फर्क नहीं है। प्राइमरी सोर्स आप हैंसलर को दें, हेयर अटाल ने 2021 में जो है ना, गोल्ड ने 2001 में कहा था, तो हम जो है ना बॉर्डर लाइन पे हैं, तो जस्टिफाई कर लेते हैं, क्योंकि हम देखते हैं ना हमारा HTMT यहाँ पे है, और इसको जो है ना हम अगर मॉडल फिट को देख लेंगे तो हमारा जो SRMR है वो 0.0443 है, हम कह सकते हैं। और अगर हम अपने क्रॉस लोडिंग्स को देखें तो वो भी इतना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, हम यहाँ पे क्रॉस लोडिंग्स की जस्टिफिकेशन के साथ देते हैं। अच्छा, अब इसको डाउनलोड करने का तरीका ये है कि आप एक्सेल को एक्सपोर्ट करें, इसको एक्सेल को हम पूरी शीट एक्सपोर्ट करेंगे, और मैं इसको कहूँगा कि मेजरमेंट का सिर्फ एक टेबल बना दो और 0.01 की जस्टिफिकेशन दो। अब एथिकल ये है, आप देखें इतनी मेहनत के बावजूद हमने इतने वेरिएबल्स रिमूव किए, हमें कोई रास्ता नहीं मिल रहा था, तो फिर हमने जो है ना ये डिसाइड किया कि जैसा है हम इसको वैसे रिपोर्ट करेंगे। अब ये काफ़ी सारी चार्ट्स हैं, शीट्स हैं, थीसिस के लिए तो आप ये सारा का सारा पेस्ट कर दें, लेकिन पेपर के लिए आप इसको थोड़ा सा क्या कह सकते हैं, सिंपल बना दें, एक ही टेबल बना दें। उसके लिए आप एक जो है ना मास्टर लेवल जो है ना, ये आप उसको चैट GPT को एक्सेल की शीट दें और उसको कहें कि मुझे एक टेबल बना के दे दे। अभी हम डाउनलोड्स में जाएंगे, हमने जो डाउनलोड किया है वो ये है परफॉर्मेंस, ये कैपेबिलिटी, हाँ, मेजरमेंट मॉडल जो है ना हमने एक्सेल की शीट में हमारे पास आता है। इसको मैं दोबारा देख लेता हूँ कि ये डाउनलोड कहाँ हो गया। तो हमने SmartPLS से ना एक एक्सेल की शीट डाउनलोड की है, और स्टार्ट एक्सपोर्ट, ये एक्सपोर्ट हमने किया है डाउनलोड्स में, मास्टर पीएचडी लेवल डाटा एनालिसिस मेजरमेंट का। ठीक है, अब मैं चैट जीपीटी को कहूँगा कि मेरा HTMT का एक टेबल दे और उस टेबल में जस्टिफिकेशन दे कि भाई 0.901 हमसे नहीं हुआ, हमने इतनी मेहनत की, उसकी जस्टिफिकेशन दे दें। तो हम जिस जर्नल को भी रिपोर्ट करेंगे हम उससे क्या वैलिडिटी दे दें। तो हमारे पास जो है ना हेयर अटॉल का रेफरेंस हम देंगे कि भाई स्लाइटली फ्लेक्सिबल है और 0.90 और 0.901 में इतना डिफरेंस नहीं है। तो हम मेजरमेंट कर दिया इसको। क्योंकि अब चैट जीपीटी को जब भी बात करें आप एक ही चैट में करें तो हम कहते हैं दिस इज आवर एनालिसिस ऑफ मेजरमेंट मॉडल, kindly this is our analysis of measurement model, kindly make a web of science impact factor level table of measurement of study, justify HTMT of 0.901 at one place with cross loadings। ठीक है, ये हमने लिख लिया। ये टेबल हम बना के क्या करेंगे उस फाइल में जाके पेस्ट कर देंगे, जो हमारी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस वाला था जहाँ पे हमने डेमोग्राफिक्स का टेबल कर दिया। हम एक आध टेबल जो है ना, एक आध टेबल मेजरमेंट के कन्वर्जेंट वैलिडिटी रिलायबिलिटी का होगा, ठीक है ना, मेजरमेंट मॉडल का, और एक टेबल हमारा जो है ना होगा किसका, स्ट्रक्चरल मॉडल का। तो वंस हमारा जो मेजरमेंट मॉडल है वो ओके है, फिर हम रन करते हैं स्ट्रक्चरल मॉडल इसमें से। तो ये चैट जीपीटी मीनवाइल प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर स्प्रेडशीट, मीनवाइल हम जो है ना स्ट्रक्चरल मॉडल, अब हम देखा कि मेजरमेंट मॉडल हमारा ओके है, जस्टिफाइड है, फॉर अ फॉरेन लॉकर क्राइटेरिया ओके है, इसमें कोई मिस्टेक नहीं है, हमारी क्रॉस लोडिंग जस्टिफाइड है। HTMT में यहाँ थोड़ा सा एक ग्लच है कि 0.900 की जगह पे हमारा जो है ना 0.901 है, जो कि जस्टिफाइड है। हम इसको एक्सप्लेनेशन दे सकते हैं कि हमारे बाकी क्राइटेरिया सही है, सिर्फ यहाँ एक फैक्टर में। अब इसमें दूसरा तरीका हो सकता है कि आप इसको 0.900 करें, वो अनएथिकल है, वो हमने कभी नहीं करना, हमने हमेशा एथिकली इसको रिपोर्ट करना है। तो हम जो है ना अब इसमें मास्टर पीडी लेवल डाटा पे जाएंगे और इस पे जो है ना हम बूटस्ट्रैपिंग टेक्निक को यूज करेंगे। अच्छा, हम ना कंफर्मेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस भी मैंने अपने पीएचडी थीसिस में रिपोर्ट किया था, वो भी हम कर सकते हैं, वो इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर को देखता है। अच्छा, अब ये देखिए कि इस स्टडी को हमने पहले भी जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था हमने एक दफा रन किया था, तो हमारे पास बहुत ही इनकरेजिंग रिजल्ट्स इसके आए थे। सो अगर आप देख लें तो इसमें कैलकुलेशंस ऑब्वियसली हम देख सकते हैं टी वैल्यू के, वो हमने हाँ नहीं देखनी, लेकिन हमारे पास यहाँ पे जो है ना एआई कैपेबिलिटी वाला जो हमारे सारे वेरिएबल्स हैं, चाहे वो डायरेक्ट रिलेशंस हैं चाहे वो इनडायरेक्ट हैं, टोटल इनडायरेक्ट को भी हम देख लेते हैं, स्पेसिफिक इनडायरेक्ट को हम देख लेते हैं, ठीक है, कॉन्फिडेंस इंटरवल, सारी चीज़ें हमारे सी सही हैं। हमने एक इसकी भी एक पिक्चर लेके ऑब्वियसली अपने उसमें रिपोर्ट करनी है थीसिस में, इसकी भी हम एक पिक्चर लेंगे, इसको आप कंट्रोल S करके राइट क्लिक करके ना एक्सपोर्ट इमेज टू फाइल कर देंगे। इसको मैं कह दूंगा मेजरमेंट मॉडल, ये भी हम सेव करेंगे PNG, ताकि इसको भी ना हम अपने पेपर में रिपोर्ट कर सकें। मेजरमेंट मॉडल, एक हम स्ट्रक्चरल मॉडल का भी रिपोर्ट करेंगे जहाँ पे हमारे आउटपुट लोडिंग्स और पाथ वगैरह नजर आ रहे हैं। और इसका जो एक्सेल है, ये जो बूटस्ट्रैपिंग है, ये हमने एक्सेल शीट ले जाना है। एक्सेल शीट ले जाके वैसे ही हमने चैट जीपीटी को करना है, हमें इसका जो है ना इसको मैं जो है ना मेजरमेंट की जगह स्ट्रक्चरल मॉडल कर दूंगा, स्ट्रक्चरल मॉडल। वैसे ही हमने इसको कहना है चैट जीपीटी को कि स्ट्रक्चरल मॉडल हमारा कंप्लीट एनालिसिस कर दे, मेजरमेंट कर दे, स्ट्रक्चरल कर दे। तो ऐसे ही हमारे पास स्ट्रक्चरल का एक टेबल बन जाएगा। जब आप देखें कंस्ट्रक्ट, रिटेन्ड आइटम्स, डिलीटेड आइटम्स जो हमने किए हैं, वो सारी जो रिपोर्ट है जैसे मैं आपको बता रहा था हमें प्रिपेयर करनी है एक हाई लेवल पेपर के लिए, वो जो है ना हमारा आ, आ, देखिए इसका एवी सही है, रोहू सही है, कंपोजिट रिलायबिलिटी सही है, तो हम जो है ना इसको लेके चल रहे हैं। तो जैसे ही हमारा डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी भी ठीक कर दिया इसने, HTMT को भी स्लाइटली हाईलाइट किया है, क्रॉस लोडिंग्स का जो सपोर्ट दिया है और साथ में रेफरेंसेस दिए हैं, और ये हमारी सारी चीज़ें जस्टिफाइड है। तो हम अपने एनालिसिस वाले टेबल में एक ये वाला दिखा देंगे, जहाँ से पीएचडी का थीसिस भी आप अपना ऐसे ही प्रिपेयर करेंगे। तो हम और तो अगर टाइप ऑफ पेपर लिखना चाह रहे हैं उसमें करेंगे। सबसे पहले हमने मेजरमेंट की कंस्ट्रक्ट वैलिडिटी और रिलायबिलिटी के स्टैटिस्टिक्स रिपोर्ट करने। ये क्या है हमारे पास? रिलायबिलिटी, कन्वर्जेंट वैलिडिटी, कंपोजिट, हाँ कंपोजिट रिलायबिलिटी के स्टैटिस्टिक्स है, रिलायबिलिटी स्टैटिस्टिक्स इसको हम कह देंगे, ठीक। और ऐसे करके हमने फॉर्म लॉकर का भी टेबल यहाँ पे पेस्ट कर देना है। डिस्क्रिमिनेंट वैलिडिटी के डिफरेंट हमारे पास टेबल हैं, टेबल 2, HTMT का, फॉर्म लॉकर का, और ये जस्टिफिकेशन भी हमने अपने पास रखना है कि हमने जो है ना वो एक नंबर रखा है 0.901 वाला, उसके पीछे जस्टिफिकेशन क्या है, ये सारा का सारा भी हमने इसमें जाके पेस्ट कर देना है, ठीक। अब जो टेबल्स हैं हमारे वो ऑब्वियसली हमने ठीक करने हैं, जैसे क्रॉस लोडिंग्स हैं उनको भी आपने ऐसी हेडिंग देने हैं, और जिस भी जर्नल में या जो भी यूनिवर्सिटी का पैटर्न है आप उस यूनिवर्सिटी के पैटर्न के मुताबिक हमें उसको सपोर्ट करना है। ओके, so this is HTMT thing, and finally we have results, structural model result. We have to report the structural model results accordingly. अब हमने we got the structural model results. We already gave every detail to the Excel sheet, so we can say that you have already model and hypothesis, make the structural data analysis. We can also report the model fitness in the statistics from the measurement model, and then our analysis is complete. So as you can see, for this paper we wrote all the detailed analysis, so we know our paper in raw shape is prepared. We have all the Excel sheets. We can have one picture this picture in the paper, in the book, that this is like this way. Put one measurement model picture, it looks good. Okay, one measurement model picture, and then we will keep on adding the analysis. One figure here and one structural model. Our structural model picture is also important. We will also put that. Okay, so this is structural model, and we can add the reference of both the what they call it both the papers. So this is measurement model. Here cross loadings are shown. Here the path coefficients are shown, and this is structure model. Okay. Now meanwhile we gave all the SmartPLS data to ChatGPT to do the mediation analysis, moderation analysis, stats, and all the stats for our study. So once we get those stats, we will report in our final thesis. So here we will report, and in this way our analysis is complete, and then we can write that what every variables means, what our hypothesis. So one thing is sure, that all our hypotheses are supported. It means that AI capability impacts the what they call it marketing performance, and consumer, when it comes to consumer personalization as mediator, it also supports. So there is partial mediation, there is direct relation also, there is mediation relation also, and you can see the chat GPT is performing all the analysis. it is going to be, it will give us final tables. So I asked for the final tables. So you can see it is asking about our every hypothesis, standard deviation, t value, decision, and everything. So this kind of tables we see from in the top journals. So we could create it by the data we had after analysis. So this is the structural model analysis we have. Our next step is structural model analysis. Okay, so this table is for hypothesis testing. It will definitely help us in writing the analysis. So we have the results that our all hypotheses are supported. Not a single hypothesis have been rejected. So the next is our specific effect. So structural model interpretation. The structural model shows AI capability. So we will copy this all and we will explain each and every result, and this way our analysis section is complete, and definitely we can drive rest of the analysis, and we can provide one table of hypothesis summary. So this one I will copy paste and then I will convert it into my own wording. So we have that H1 additional path in uploaded model, consumer privacy concern, personalization, consumer privacy concerns positively. So these are our other paths I also made. So it depends on if you want to report, you can also report. For example, in the model, we could also make other path. Earlier, we decided to see 4 or 5 hypotheses, we can see more hypotheses. So Psychometric coverage significantly chances as a structured model result shows that AI capability significantly enhances personalization, providing strong support for the argument that the firms with stronger AI-based capabilities are better able to deliver more refined and effective personalization. In turn, personalization quality proves marketing performance. So beta coefficient is there, T is higher, P is significant. The result further indicates that AI capability has significant impact on marketing performance. This again supported through the statements. So this is how we can write a complete analysis. So this is our smart PLS analysis. We did the demographic analysis, and all this will be available on my this Dr. Farooq Buzdar Business AI Research channel. See you in the next lecture. I hope so. This is the best course ever made on PhD. I hope it will be. I think it's will be 2 to 3 hours. I think recording, but it will help you a lot. Inshallah. Allah Hafiz.
Hello viewers. In the field of academics, every researcher is supposed to write and publish research papers. But where to publish the research papers? This is the question most of the time researchers ask me, that I have one research paper, where can I submit it? So I would like to today suggest you to use the journal suggesters. You can go to google.com and suggest and search the journal suggester. Okay, and it will give you different options such as general suggester of Springer, general suggester by Elsewhere, general suggester by Wiley. So what you can do, you can go to these pages and you can give your title, you can give your manuscript, and you can tell your subject area. It will tell you the best journal for your article. Similarly, in Elsewhere you have to give the same information. Similarly, in Wiley you have to give the same information. Wiley has introduced new journal journal finder beta version, so you can click on it and you can find the required journal for your article. I have one article with me. Let's say this is my article over here, and I have author information, the main manuscript, and I would like just want to show you that as we are looking for the best journal for our article, so I will use my information to find the best article. I will copy the title, okay, put it here in the Springer Journal Suggester. Similarly, I can put it in the Elsewhere Journal Suggester. This will be my title. Similarly, I can put it in the Wiley Journal Suggester. The second thing is about the abstract. I have to copy the abstract and put it here. As you can see, this is the abstract. I copy the abstract. I will submit it here. Similarly, in Elsewhere, I will submit it here. Similarly, in Wiley, I will also submit it here. Okay. The next thing is the Springer also asks for the subject area. So my subject area is business management. Okay, I will click on suggest journals. Over here my keywords, elsewhere is asking for the keywords, so I have the keywords of my research paper, so I will add the keywords over here. And similarly, if we go to the Wiley, that's it we are required. So we need to find the required the research papers. And similarly elsewhere it's suggesting us, as we can see, we have to select our area. My area of research and area of this paper is actually the business management and accounting, so I will request for find the journals. On Springer it is suggesting me different journals. Let's say the information system frontier, you can, it is showing the impact factor, first decision, and then acceptance rate. Similarly in electronic research is just giving the same information. Services business, journal of brand management, journal of flexible systems management, I have research paper in it. It is Scopus Q1. You can select the best journal for you. Maybe if your article is weak, you can look into the acceptance rate. Maybe you can if you want to publish it early, then you can see the first decision schedule of every journal. So this is the best journal suggester, giving you the best information. Going towards the elsewhere, and it is showing me these journals: technology in society, citation score is there, impact factor is there, acceptance rate is there, time to first decision is there, time to publication is there. So similarly in future in different journals, as you can see, it is giving me. Similarly Wiley is also suggesting me different journals. So today I wanted to share this with you. I'm sure after watching this video you will never ask anyone that where should I publish my journal. If you are new here on my YouTube channel Muhammad Farooq Buzdar, I request you to share it with your maximum friends. We have summaries of 2200 books. I will keep adding the books, and inshallah very soon we will have up to 2000 book summaries. And then we have research courses, more than 200 videos on research courses, proposal writing, topic selection, literature review, or plagiarism removal, and related to methodology. There are different courses, and even you can see the reference management software. You can see an English course, write better, speak better. So if you like the video, please share it with others. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching.